I am former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn, on Twitter at G_Kuhn71. Producing the program is Bryant Dacus, on Twitter at Bryant_Dacus. Bryant, hello.
Howdy.
And my partner does pre and post for the Ole Miss Football Radio Network. He is Brett Stats Norseworthy, on Twitter at Brett Norseworthy. We are all in the Family Leisure Studios today.
Right here, aren't we? I
It's
like
fantastic.
that.
In the flesh.
That gusty, lusty
Beautiful.
howdy from Bryant. Sounded like he was on campus at College Station.
Yeah.
That's their big saying. Everybody you run into there, howdy.
Howdy.
Yeah. You hanging in there today, though?
Hanging in there good.
I hear you.
Real good.
Good lunch today?
Great lunch today.
Enjoyed it over at the commissary.
We did.
I talked with Walker Taylor a little bit.
We left a little for everybody else, didn't we? Not
Yeah,
much.
I think so. You know what? I love their tamales. Those tamales are fantastic.
That was outstanding.
Oh, they're great. I always love that stuff. Now, we have a bunch to get to today on the show. First hour of it brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. Bunch of guests. 3:30, Alex Kuhn will join us from KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids. Also from the Chicago Bears Radio Network, WBBM News Radio. He produces those games. We'll have a bunch to talk to him about. We have to talk to him about Iowa. How about those Hawks? 7 points.
They got there.
Yeah. And have you seen the stuff on Brian Ferentz this week? Have you seen sort of how much he's coming under fire? Their OC, for good reason. Only scoring 7 points and no offensive touchdowns. He's the heat shield
right now for his dad.
Yeah. When it comes down to all that, Brian Ferentz has been pretty well taken care of. And all the Ferentz boys have been well taken care of. James Ferentz, I think, he played center for Iowa. I think he's still kicking around the NFL. He might be with the Patriots still.
2 coaches at Iowa since 1979. Hayden Fry and
they've
Ferentz.
had success, but some of it's just been
stay patient.
But some of this ball lately for Kirk Ferentz has just been ugly ball.
They'll take a 5-7. Mm-hmm. They'll take a 7-5, and then they'll throw in a 10-2.
Mm-hmm. Then we'll also talk to him about Ohio State, what they look like against Notre Dame. We'll probably get to a little NFL Week 1 as well.
Gabe, there are a couple of places in the SEC, namely in the SEC West, if they would have taken that patient approach Iowa that they've taken over 43 years, there'd be a lot of money ahead and better served for it.
Yeah, but it's win now. It's national championship now thought process in the SEC more so than at Iowa. And that's interesting.
I think some have illusions of grandeur on national championship, but they sell that, and they almost have to keep up in this arms race.
Yes, I agree with that. And also we'll talk some SEC, and we'll talk some college football, 4 o'clock with Barrett Jones. Come on, ECS grad, All-American at all 4 different positions along the offensive line at Alabama.
Allen Trophy winner.
Yeah. Just was fantastic at Alabama. We'll bring him on at 4 o'clock.
Yesterday it was fun hearing you tell the story about blocking Big Boy for Houston. He likes telling the story about blocking Aaron Donald in Rams practices.
Well, hold on. That too, and also
this is an immovable object.
How much did he have to deal with at practice? At practice along that D line and that defensive front. Was he there with Terrence Cody? Did he cross paths with Terrence Cody?
At Bama, yes.
At Bama, yeah. That'd be a load to deal with.
He got that and all those edge rushers. That's why he says his back's wrecked.
Exactly. And that's a lot of football to play at an SEC school. And and we're talking extra games.
And those physical Tuesday, Wednesday practices that Bama does no one else.
And it's a different style. Nowadays, today at Alabama, it'd probably be a lot better on his body.
Yeah.
Not near as bad because they were just grinding.
It's
running the
so
ball like
different
crazy
from
men.
2010, 2011, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And as much as I thought Georgia would be a throwback, and they were last year for the most part offensively, this year it looks like they're going to start airing it out a little bit more. And hey, that throwback style is just not quite what it once was. No one around the country is really doing that except for in the Big Ten. Wisconsin, Iowa. Iowa's not doing it at a high level, though. And also at 5 o'clock, bring on Vince Ferrara from WNML in Knoxville to talk about the big game this weekend. How are we feeling about this? Pitt plus 6.5 at home against UT.
I said yesterday, if you bet this game, you just like living dangerously.
Yeah.
Just watch it and enjoy it because last year was back and forth at Neyland. I think we're going to have the same thing Saturday.
Could you imagine if Joe Milton didn't start that game too? It would have gone differently.
That was the epiphany for Heupel that day. that game.
Pitt's still
I want
a
to
good
say
team.
Pitt lost the next week to Western Michigan last
They
year.
did, but Western Michigan actually was a decent team
Yeah,
last
they sure
year.
were.
Yeah, but Pitt with Kenny Pickett losing to them, that was interesting. Also on the show, we're gonna have college football week 1. We're gonna cover that. Have some NFL or week 2, I should say, NFL week 1, and we have a lot more where that came from. Have a little bit of baseball. Doug Gottlieb has had to apologize and retract his statement that he put out about Casey Close from Excel Sports about Freddie Freeman. We'll get to that. If you want to hit us up, listener line's there for you, 901-360-8255. Also, watch us live and message us on our social, Sports56 WHBQ, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and go to our website, sports56whbq.com. So, last night, Little Rock Touchdown Club. They have 2 weeks in a row now made some news, and not so
Yesterday at
flattering
noon,
news.
yeah.
Huh?
I think it was a noon meeting yesterday.
Okay. But
Yeah.
same thing. I mean, they have had 2 weeks here in a row. So last week was John Gruden. We'll get to the Ed O sound in just a second, but not flattering.
Great speakers.
Great speakers, and they're being fourth. I mean, they're talking. They're loosening up, but it hadn't been flattering 2 weeks in a row, right?
Ed Orgeron yesterday. Ed Orgeron, full return for him. I don't remember him at all in the Arkansas strength room.
That's how he built up.
Yeah, that's where he came from John Stuckey's strength room. I remember John Stuckey well. And Nebraska was pretty noted as the first place to have a strength room. John Stuckey wasn't far behind that. I don't know what number, but they were close. But I don't remember up there at all, and that's rare if you don't remember Ed Orgeron around.
It's not overly common for a football coach. I mean, it's decently common, but it's not the normal path. But
to head coach from strength room?
From strength room to coach in general happens, but it's not all that common. He has to be the
only one to
but
ascend
strength coach,
national championship coach.
Strength coach to the head coach does not happen. But it kind of explains his demeanor, too, that he was a strength coach at one point.
Because they're all screaming meatheads.
Yes, and he was asked, and I don't even know if he was asked. I think it was somewhat unprovoked yesterday, but it came up, how it ended at LSU. This is what Ed Orgeron had to say.
I'm so grateful of my time for LSU. That was my opportunity. You know, coaches got a shelf. Some coaches got 50 years. Some coaches got 12. Mine was 6. Good. I got to tell you, we had a meeting. Say, Coach, things are not going well. No shit. Ray Charles can see that, brother. And they were good. And Scott Woodward is a friend of mine today. Really, really, a lot of respect for the way they handled me.
So what's next?
Well, I got to tell you this, though. Say, Coach, you got $17.1 million on your contract. We're going to give it to you. I said, what time you want me to leave and what door you want me out of, brother?
Now, Brett, I know you're not going to find this near as cute. I know the history. I know how you feel about Edo, but I mean that's sort of an everyman response there. That truthfully, and I know not every man's making $17 million, but it seems clear he knew that his shelf life was very short, and that it almost feels like he knows he's not that good of a head coach.
Should have never been hired at Ole Miss. I thought it was the single worst hire in the history of SEC football.
Recruiting.
When he was hired at Ole Miss, it was at that time I didn't think Ole Miss screamed desperation as loudly as they acted. David Cutcliffe, it had started heading in the wrong way. Maybe changing David Cutcliffe. Okay, I wasn't for that either because I love him to death and love Karen Cutcliffe a whole lot too. But to replace him with that,
yeah.
And then when LSU hires him because he looks like him and he sounds, now that's what they all said when he was on top and they loved him. And I said over these airwaves, I know how it ends at LSU, and it ended exactly how I knew it would. Now, what I did miss is I never thought he would go undefeated and win a national championship with one of the more vaunted teams in the history of the sport, and that quarterback performance that Joe Burrow had that year. But that speaks to Burrow. He held that whole round of craziness together.
And I thought, and also Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase,
Stingley
everybody
as a
up
freshman
front,
that year.
Stingley. They had literally everything you could possibly imagine. The defensive line, Braden Fajoko still playing
Winslow
for the
at
Chargers.
tight end.
They had so many different guys. And, you can say what you want about Coach O as a coach. I don't think he's
what
very
Winslow?
good.
It was Randy Moss's son.
Yeah, Thaddeus Moss.
Yeah.
I don't think Coach O is a good coach. I don't.
No, he's not.
But the reason he got hired in the SEC so many times is because he did have a way with bringing in players and relating to players. Now, I think based on what's happening at LSU right this second, he needs to come to the stand and we need to start to question what he did the past couple of years, the last 2 years after the national championship and what they are now. But
yeah, his fingerprints are all over this disaster they have right now.
there is a reason that teams got fooled during Ed O's coaching days. Now, I don't know if I sort of wonder. I wonder if anyone gets involved with him in the future. Because I think as a position coach, coaching D-line, that type of thing, he's okay. I don't think he's horrible. He can still recruit. He can help you out in that way. I know he's kind of he's kind of kiddish. I mean, he doesn't present himself as that normal coach. He doesn't, from the respect, he probably commands respect, but in a completely different way.
I do like needling Michigan football fans with this one, though. Ed Orgeron has more national championships than Bo Schembechler and Jim Harbaugh
That's
combined.
rough. That's rough. That's rough stuff.
That'd be hard to live with.
Yeah. But I found that hilarious yesterday. I know you can't laugh at it, though. Come on. There's a little bit of humor in there.
Can't stand him. Can't do it.
I get you. Also,
love David Basil and the Little Rock Touchdown Club, though, so I'll laugh with him.
Also, Brian Kelly had his. I guess this was yesterday, but he had his presser, weekly presser, and he stepped up, made fun of the media crowd, and was going after them, saying, "Oh, this late arriving media crowd, yada yada yada." Leah Van from the back, and she's from the Advocate in Baton Rouge. She said, "Maybe if you win, I'll be on time." So Brian Kelly's getting smacked around a little bit, but honestly, I think it was a little overplayed what happened yesterday in that press conference.
If you hear it, it's more good natured than if you read it.
Yes.
If you read what happened, you go, "Oh boy, that was kind of a uncomfortable moment." But then you hear it and you see the interaction. It's not as much. I told you before we came on. I'll say it now live. In the press box at Tiger Stadium, they're practically doing the wave. There's no bigger fans than the LSU media.
That was my first reaction when I heard that. And also, I didn't know the background because I think Leah Van didn't mean it. It was sort of prodding. Both sides prodded. Brian Kelly said, "Hey, the late arriving media crowd tried to make fun of them," and Leah Van came back and prodded. And I think they talked afterward and made friends and made amends, and it wasn't a big deal. But my first reaction was that's not a media member saying something like that. If you hear a media member in the back of a room unprovoked saying something like that, that's a fan. That's not a media member.
In most press boxes pre-game from the in-house press box announcer, not the stadium public address announcer, but from the press box announcer, forever at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, Phil Cannon was that. Who is the in-house press box announcer now at
I'm not sure.
At Tigers games. I don't know. I hadn't sat in the press box in a while at a Tigers game, but they always give that perfunctory, "This is a working press box in accordance with the Football Writers Association." Some will say, "If you want to cheer, we'll get you a ticket. Otherwise, no signs of outward emotion for either team." Blah blah blah. And
yeah, of course.
Keep the noise down. At LSU, I promise you, they couldn't cheer anymore than if the press box announcement was, "We're at Fable Tiger Stadium. We want the LSU media to cheer and stand up and do the wave after they make a first down." You've never seen media cheer like that.
You don't see them post any negative articles unless they're forced to. And let's be honest, at LSU they've been forced to through that Les Miles era and through Ed O's era. And all of the things that have gone on behind the scenes with Joe Oliva and hiding the sexual assault allegations. Unless they're forced to actually report something negative, they won't.
And it's a lot like Arkansas. It's a one-horse state fandom. Yeah, I know they have Tulane. I know they have Louisiana Lafayette or Louisiana. I know they have Louisiana Monroe, but it's LSU there, and that's what makes everybody the money. Mm-hmm. And and everybody else, in Mississippi you have two. There's no way media can be that pro one side or the other in Mississippi. In Alabama, the same.
I'm sort of wondering though, with Brian Kelly, and I know this is really early. I feel like there's a lot more negative attention around Brian Kelly than there has been the entire offseason.
I think there's a gotcha quality to people wanting to get him, and here's the reason. My suspicion.
I don't really like the guy. I'm not a big fan of Brian Kelly. I think he's a great football coach. Out.
They liked running with O. They liked being close.
People that
to
are
him.
like them.
He looks like him. He talks like him. He sounds like him.
There's a big
He's one of
difference,
us.
though, because this whole offseason, it's about how Brian Kelly doesn't fit the standard. He doesn't know the culture. He's trying to change his accent, and now you lose game one, and it feels like more pressure's on him than anybody else that's been there in the past 20 years.
And I think a lot of that group that knew O had to go, they wanted Billy Napier.
Yes. I think and that probably would have been a decent hire, but Brian Kelly –
from Notre Dame.
You can say whatever you want about his fit, but he's won 250 games.
He'll win there.
In his college career. And I have said this, and especially after this first game, I'll buy Brian Kelly in year 2. Once he starts to create whatever culture he wants to build. Year 1, I think there's going to be a learning process. I think they'll be better in game 9 than they were in game 1, like everybody else, but I think they'll be substantially better. I think they'll grow week to week. But I'm buying way more stock in year 2, year 3 of Brian Kelly than year 1.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all 2022 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2022 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you'll get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
And this is just coming down about 20 minutes ago. Lamar Jackson has officially said that the Ravens have until Friday to get an extension done with him. And for me,
D-Day.
Well, but at the same time, he's still going to play going forward, so there's no pressure on the Ravens' grand scheme. They're still going to have their quarterback that they wanted to go into the season with. And here's what I'm going to say, and I'll just leave it at this. If he held out, if he did the right thing here, which I think the right thing would be holding out, and I think there's something to be said about being a good teammate and wanting to still play and putting your selfish needs and wants aside. Like I think that there's something to be said about that. But if he held out, he'd force the Ravens' hand. And they'd have to pay him $250 million guaranteed, because what else are they going to do going forward? They're in a win-now mode. They know that there's no other quarterback on their roster that can run that or no other quarterback on their roster or really in the NFL that's available that could potentially run that offense like Lamar Jackson does. He's won an MVP. He's a Pro Bowler. The guy needs to get paid, but I think it's on him. I think he needs to force them. He needs to force their hand, and he's not doing that.
Great negotiating tactic employed by him. He's played this out as well as an agent would.
But do you think that? In the end of the day, though, he hadn't gotten paid. I mean, if he doesn't get paid by Friday, when's the deal going to get done? Because he's cutting off talks. What happens this year?
At the end of the year when he really.
But what happens if there's injuries? If he doesn't perform up to the level
with an agent?
Yeah, I think an agent would have told him to hold out and get his money right now. But that's just me.
My top story: Josh Heupel's big moment as Tennessee head coach. First big one comes this Saturday at Acrisure Stadium, where the Three Rivers meet. His best win so far in his 8-6 is probably last year over Kentucky. This one would get the Big Orange faithful really fired up. 2:30 on CBS. 17th ranked Pitt against 24th ranked Tennessee. It's big for Pat Narduzzi too. You know, he's kind of that coach out there. Y'all always forget about me.
Yep. And I have to say, for Tennessee, one, lock in defensively, because I thought Keaton Slovis did a good job of spreading the ball out last week. And also, be careful with this Pitt defensive line. And we talked with Brent Beard yesterday about it. Habakkuk Baldonado, Kalijah Cansey, one of their D tackles. They have probably, I mean, when you look around the country, this is a top 10 group on the defensive line. That offensive line for Tennessee better be ready to go and better be primed and ready.
Not top story of the day.
And for me, this is Rodriguez Clark, no longer with University of Memphis. We know what he's been. He's a senior this year. Already's played 3 years with the Tigers, ran for 1,033 yards. Thought he'd be in the rotation this year. Now, when you look at the depth chart, he was not listed. It's Jay Ducker. It's Asa Martin. It's Brandon Thomas. It's all those type of guys. And it looks like he was not going to get as many rushes, as many carries, touches as he's used to. So maybe that had to do with it. I will say this. That's a deep running back room. I'm not overly worried about depth. I'm not worried about this affecting sort of on-field who can actually go out there and get touches. What I am worried about is exactly what happened behind the scenes. This is a guy that's been loyal to the University of Memphis for 3 years. And it's seemingly they had a good relationship. You wonder if there's anything that happened to have that falter. Now, Rodriguez Clark has taken to Twitter, and he has said it's all love, minor setback for a major comeback when he decides to transfer and goes elsewhere. But definitely news you didn't want to hear if you're a Tiger fan.
My not top story, NBA rumored now to expand by 2 to Vegas and to Seattle, back to Seattle. Both long rumored and to want a team and to really expect to get teams. The Seattle Supersonics, they preserved their history when they moved to Oklahoma City and became the Thunder. The NBA kept those records, that history, so they'll slide right in. Las Vegas, that'll be wild for the league to be there. But how does it impact Memphis? It's clear. We're east of the Mississippi River. The Grizzlies should be in the NBA Eastern Conference, and think what that'll do. Not just the competitive balance right now. We know it'll be easier right now, and mostly historically since the Grizzlies have been in town having to compete in the West. But think about that one sweet day when we're in the playoffs with the Memphis Grizzlies as an Eastern representative. No more 8:50 tip-offs. We'll be tipping off at normal times when you're in the Eastern Division.
That's a good point. No, tip-off's always going to be 10 minutes after the listed time, though, still.
That's right.
Even in the Eastern Conference.
So no more 9 o'clock
but
tip-offs.
That's a great point, Brett. Very astute point.
All of us, the whole town drags in here the next day after that thrilling win or loss on a Tuesday night.
If it's not close in the third quarter, you might as well just go to bed, too.
That we all leave FedEx Forum at midnight
tips
from.
Yeah. Those are rough. That'll do it for top and not top story.
I'm ready for that day.
Of the day.
Brett Norsworthy here, and I'm ready for the NFL. Kickoff week 1 with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Join today to get started with $150 in free bets. That's guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Sign up with promo code CASH to get in on the action. Then you can turn game day into payday all season long on Sunday. He's talked it. I think he walks it. I like Carolina and Baker Mayfield laying the 1.5 at home for the Panthers over his old team, the Browns. Play your way and bet on more than just the final score. Wager on everything from touchdowns to total yards to catches. You can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay bet. Don't fumble your chance to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with promo code CASH. Again, that's promo code CASH. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
We're underway on a Wednesday. Coming up next, we bring on Alex Coon.
Start your day with Sports56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports56 and 98.5 FM.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today. If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know: Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
When a nasty cold keeps you up all night, Vicks NyQuil Severe gives you powerful relief from your worst cold and flu symptoms, which changes a night that sounds like this into a night that sounds more like this. Ah, that's better. NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, sore throat, stuffy head, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings & Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings & Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings & Grill.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
When I was in Iraq, our convoy was hit. It was bad. After I came home, I could still hear booms and see tracer fire. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
With help from DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Today, I'm part of DAV. We're veterans helping veterans to get the benefits they've earned. And I give my veterans my all.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Naomi Mathis, thank you for your service. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
In the alley since 1948, Mr. Charlie Virgo's world-famous Rendezvous. John, you and your family continue the great work at the Rendezvous. Next year will be the 75th birthday party. Let's start the party now.
Brett, there are so many visitors in town to watch the emerging Grizzlies and to see our great sights and sounds in Memphis. I see them all the time at the restaurant. I want them to know Memphis is a great foodie town. There are so many family-owned, locally owned great restaurants that have stood the test of time. I won't mention all because the list is too long and I don't want to leave anybody out, but I will mention Jim's Place Grill because my cousins own it. It's a great restaurant and they've stood the test of time, and they are this year celebrating their 100th anniversary. And of course, any visitor that comes to Memphis needs to eat barbecue. And I've said this before, there's great barbecue all over Memphis. I know because I eat it. But if you just have one night to eat barbecue in Memphis, it should be the Rendezvous. It's such a special place with a special staff. And by the way, next year we will be celebrating our 75th anniversary.
The world-famous Rendezvous, serving Memphis in the Mid-South and with the shipping serving the world.
Now, back to Sports Time. on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
What we are dealing with here is a perfect machine. It's really a miracle of evolution.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back rolling with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe. He is Stats. And joining us via the phone line is Alex Kuhn from Cedar Rapids, KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids, also from WBBM News Radio.
One opening day down with the Hawkeyes, one to go with the Bears.
Yeah. And we're also related, by the way. I always have to throw that in there. Alex, what's happening, man?
Well, a lot, guys. We're into the start of the NFL season, as Brett brought up, but it's definitely a good time to be busy in our industry.
Now, we have to bring this up off the top. How are Iowa fans doing this week after what that was on Saturday?
I set up at 5-3.
Oh, Lord.
It got my attention, Alex.
And by the way, I told you guys talked to David Cobb. We talked to David Cobb on Mondays, and I told him to next time apologize for backing up Iowa all these years. That y'all had to sit through that game and watch it, you and Todd. I'm literally prayers out. My gosh.
You asked how Iowa fans are doing. Not well, dude.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
I think that when Iowa wins a game, and this did happen, I'm trying to look exactly what year it was, but they played Penn State and they beat Penn State 6-4. That was. I'm trying to figure out the year, but it was the game. It was literally the game after Kirk Ferentz lost his father, and it was I thought that at the time 2004 was the year.
Okay.
It's still looked at in infamy, but if you're the Iowa football program, beating Penn State 6-4, you can justify that by saying, okay, well, we had to play a defensive game. It was a different time in college football.
Beat Joe Paterno.
It was just a time in Big Ten history where defenses were dominant and offense was down a little bit, and they had to win that game with defense. And this particular game, when you do that against South Dakota State and you beat South Dakota State 7-3, it doesn't have the same ring to it as it does when you play a Penn State. Then it becomes, okay, so you were so concerned about the fact that they only had one scholarship wide receiver that they felt comfortable playing on Saturday. They're without two of their top receivers. They were without one of their running backs, and you just kind of took the air out of the ball completely and relied on your defense to beat an FCS team. When you do that, it just makes the entire fan base panic. And there's a concern that we're seeing the deterioration of an offensive scheme right before our eyes, and Kirk Ferentz right now in the production from the offense over the last 5-6 years has not done a lot to kind of quell those concerns.
What's the appetite of Iowa football? What should they expect? What do they expect? And I asked that, Alex, because I said before you came on back really right after we started, there are a lot of places in the SEC that would have been better served playing that patient game that Iowa played with Hayden Fry and Kirk Ferentz over 43 years. Would have saved a lot of money, some humiliation, some embarrassment, and if they'd stayed with a few coaches instead of always changing them. And I think some of those places have and I can name names if you'd like for me to, and they're in the SEC West. Some of them are, and some in the East as well. A lot of caviar appetites when I think they might need to scale that back, maybe to some really nice grilled salmon.
Yeah, well, it's interesting with Iowa because right now with Kirk Ferentz, he's beating who he needs to beat. So you have a lot of coaches out there that, I mean, stylistically they look good. There are times where you think, oh, well, they'll get over the hump, they'll figure it out. Scott Frost, and they can't beat anybody. No matter how hard they try, they can't get over the hump against Northwestern, against Illinois, or against Iowa, against Minnesota, against anybody in their conference or in their division. Wisconsin. Yet here you have Iowa, you have Kirk Ferentz right now, who he has not lost to Matt Campbell. He has not lost to PJ Fleck. He obviously, Jeff Brom has his number. That's the one of the matchup that gets him, excuse me, every time. But they're winning 8 or 9 games a year, and it's ugly. And last year they had an offense ranked in the 120s. And the question is, will there be a course correction? Because they've won 9 one-score games in a row. Mm-hmm. And history says when you're on that kind of streak, things will change for you. Things will turn around and correct a little bit because you're not doing things doing enough offensively to win games. But I don't think that much is going to change in the way of things this year unless they go out and make the changes and think about using a different quarterback, think about using different personnel and different schemes. But to me, Kirk Ferentz has spent all off season doubling down. So it's not necessarily about his body of work because he keeps winning. The question is, at what point is that other shoe going to drop?
Yeah.
And he starts losing to PJ Fleck and losing to Scott Frost and losing to Matt Campbell, which brings up this week's matchup against Iowa State. So, there's a lot going on right now in Hawkeye land, and there's a lot of angst for sure.
We'll leave it at this because I want to get to Ohio State and get your thoughts on what we saw with them against Notre Dame winning 21-10. But Iowa State always comes into this game, at least the past few years, and when they had Brock Purdy, Breece Hall, they felt confident coming into this game, and they always somehow gack it up one way or another and just don't play well. So I am curious how this goes this weekend.
Who does that game mean more to, Alex?
Right now, I think that
Iowa State wants to win one.
The argument is always, this is Iowa State's Super Bowl. I don't buy that one bit. Since Matt Campbell has arrived, that has not been the case. But yes, that's one of the last hurdles that Matt Campbell is trying to get over, and that's the fact that people keep bringing up the fact that he's 0-6 against Kirk Ferentz.
Well, one more thing, and then I promise we'll move on. In these big rivalry games, real or perceived, it's not Brett making the rules; they're made by other people. Real or perceived, somebody's the big brother, somebody's the little brother. Iowa's the big brother in this, aren't they?
That's the argument. Yep. And it's interesting because years where Iowa State wasn't as good in years with Gene Chizik and Paul Rhodes was able to beat Kirk Ferentz several times. Some of Kirk Ferentz's good teams with Iowa State teams that won 3 or 4 games, but for whatever reason, Matt Campbell's come in and he's completely turned the program around. They're contending in the Big 12, yet they can't win this game to save their lives. So as far as this rivalry goes, historically, Iowa dominated early on. The series went away for a while. Iowa State in the 2000s pushed back a little bit, and as of late, Iowa has found a way to come out on top the last 6 times.
And by the way, have y'all gone down into history and seen when was the last time someone scored 7 points on a field goal and 2 safeties? Have you guys dove into that? No, maybe.
I think somebody did, but
probably a long time ago.
Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah, exactly. NAIA, 1967. Yeah. All right.
The offensive scheme of that day was almost exactly the same as Iowa.
And you could fold your helmet up and put it in your back pocket.
Everybody has basically crowned Ohio State immediately to start the year, and I think for good reason.
Sure did.
Offensively, fantastic. Defensively, Jim Knowles comes in.
I didn't see
and there's a lot of different things that we're going to change on the defensive side of the ball, and they have some talent over there. What did you make of that game against Notre Dame, or did you make much of it at all?
I thought that I thought positives on both sides. First, for Notre Dame, good performance defensively to hold down Ohio State, to keep that offense from really catching a rhythm. But they gave up 172 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
And for Ohio State,
that's big.
Winning without arguably your best player in Jackson Smith and Jigba, him leaving the game early, but being able to grind one out with your defense, because that is what failed the Buckeyes last year. I have no doubt in my mind that this offense will get rolling, and they're going to be unstoppable in the Big Ten against Big Ten competition. But the one thing that we wanted to see is how good can that defense be, and I think it was a pretty solid first performance for Jim Knowles as defensive coordinator.
And I think there was a lot of people out there sort of nitpicking C.J. Stroud, saying he wasn't a big play guy in this first game. And I think that Notre Dame has a lot to say about that. We know what Marcus Freeman can do with the defense, and they locked down there. But I thought C.J. Stroud looked good. I thought he looked great.
Yes.
He made some plays. That throw on the sideline was fantastic, threading the needle, and statistically didn't make mistakes and just kept them mostly on schedule.
Yeah, I thought that was what they needed to do on Saturday night. They were not going to Notre Dame was not going to allow them to get a ton of deep shots, but methodically, C.J. Stroud, Ohio State kind of took the air out of the ball. They're showing that they can win games in multiple different ways, and I thought that was a positive for them. And just as far as the C.J. Stroud talk, and he didn't look good. Let's remember that a year ago, people wanted him benched at halftime against Minnesota.
Ridiculous.
And that Quinn Ewers to be taken off of red shirt and brought into the game straight off of the high school practice field. So as far as internet chatter, I don't this time of year, I don't care ever, but it's certainly not after week one.
There's no love like the love of a backup quarterback, is it?
No, there's not. And it's like, I call it the prospect effect. It's like in baseball where fans of teams are always just so sold
that guy
on
down in
every
Double-A.
that guy,
left-hander at Class A Peoria.
I've never seen him pitch.
Or the
but
fourth
man,
brother of a string of brothers. Oh, you ought to see the seventh grader.
Oh yeah,
he's the best one yet.
This guy's never disappointed me. I've never seen him play, but he hasn't let me down yet. So therefore, he's great. And that's the backup quarterback and the prospect effect.
Here's my favorite, and they do great with it, and they have obviously carved more than this. They've carved an industry out of it. Here's my favorite thing about the recruiting guys. No matter who the recruit is, recruits Bryant Dacus, Alex Kuhn, Gabe Kuhn, Brett Norsworthy. The quotes about his visit. Oh, he loved everything. It's nicest people ever. The fans were great. The dorms are great. Then when they sign, love everything. Felt like family until it doesn't.
Yep. The family atmosphere, and it's like
says
when
it's
a
the
new
best
coach,
campus he's ever stepped foot on.
The trees are beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like when a new coach gets hired.
Well kept shrubbery.
Hire. Everybody's a home run hire.
Yeah.
Until they're not.
All right, last thing for you. Bears play 49ers week 1. I asked this truthfully. Bears fans, what's the feeling for Bears Nation going into this year? Like
4 wins?
Actually,
5,
like
6?
Not high hopes, and I know that there's all high hopes when everybody's 0-0.
I'm not a Bears fan. Here's mine, Alex.
But
keep Justin Fields upright. No surgery.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, you're going to be surprised to hear this. I've sensed a little bit more optimism as of late from the fan base than maybe there was.
Hey, 0-0.
That's it.
Prior to the preseason. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Luke Getsy is gonna get Justin Fields on a roll. He was doing a great job of checking things down in the preseason. Matt Nagy's offense was terrible. He didn't know how to run the ball. He didn't know how to use a tight end. Cole Kmet's going to have a breakout year. David Montgomery's going to be great. The offensive line is going to be improved now that Tevin Jenkins has moved Inside, yes, guys, 0-0.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Alex,
the feeling.
I know you're very busy. You probably don't have time for a whole lot of funsies this week. But if you get a chance, go to Football Ref, go to some filed stories from the past, and the show Gale Sayers put on against the 49ers. That was the opponent. And I don't remember the year, maybe 66, 67, the day that he went for 4 or 5 or 6 touchdowns, and it was catching, running, throwing, return game. It was one of the all-time performances by Gale Sayers against the 49ers.
Yeah, that's obviously him and Walter Payton are the names that they're the highlights that come up. Seemingly, like when we run our Bears facts or we run our old highlights, those are the two reoccurring players, as you can imagine. But one more thing, I got to ask you guys something. Georgia?
Yeah, I'm not. Listen. I have said this week. I'm not fully on board the Stetson Bennett Heisman train yet, but that looked different than anything I've ever seen from Stetson Bennett.
And as far as Kirby Smart, we're just wondering if he's going to be able to get Georgia to that level of Alabama or Ohio State.
He's there.
What is the one thing that we say about Nick Saban and have said for years?
Development reloading.
Yes, that also, but also when he faces one of his former assistants,
25-2.
It does not go well for his former assistant, and that's.
Yeah,
that was certainly the case for week.
Alex, it was kind of hard for me to see those.
Jimbo and Kirby, nobody had broken through against him.
Alex, I got to say, it was hard for me to see those familiar faces going through that struggle. I gotta be honest with you.
Your guys,
the Dillingham no bow camera was not fun for me to see, because that's a frustrating thing when you see a pick before it's about to happen. Throwing it into a soft zone right to the safety. Just right to the safety. My gosh. Alex, always appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great week, Alex.
You too, guys.
Thank you very much, Alex Kuhn, with us talking Big Ten and the Chicago Bears in the NFL at Jason's Deli. All these great locations like Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. There's one near you. Wherever you are, a variety of delicious choices for breakfast, lunch, all-day meals. All the food's free from dyes, artificial trans fats, and flavors. It's all good, and it's all good for you. House accounts available. And they like to say, bringing more to the table. It's a family thing. Over 200 Memphis area associates to help you out at these great locations. Dine in, to go, delivery, for all the tailgating, for all the parties, or for just breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You can get it at Jason's Deli. There's so many things there that I love, and it's all about choice. Regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals, you will be delighted. Plenty of organic food to choose from and that great salad bar. Over 30 items to choose from. Build it however you want to build it. All the salads on the menu, like the Mesa chicken salad, chicken club salad, the Big Chef salad, and my favorite, the taco salad. All so very good in the catering, anytime, anywhere. You can check them out at jasonsdeli.com. But go inside Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. And when you do that, you can wrap it up with a complimentary free ice cream. Check them out online at jasonsdeli.com.
Now, there is a new, very familiar name that has decided to be a full-time member of ESPN's College Game Day. We'll talk about that next.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. 5 Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 5 Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Tired of living with chronic joint pain from arthritis or injury? Stop with the steroids and pain meds and don't have surgery until you check out regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics.
These therapies can help the body have long-term relief of your pain.
Meet Dr. Justin Garzone, Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
We use your body's own healing properties, highly concentrate them, and then use that to restore and repair the damaged tissues in your joints.
This is a cutting-edge natural solution from local medical professionals.
We have a team of medical assistants, physician assistants, nurse practitioners, and physicians that are trained specifically just to do regenerative medicine.
And Dr. Garzone speaks from personal experience. Before joining the QC Kinetics team, he was an actual patient.
I am now pain-free.
You too can get lasting relief from joint pain. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
Golfers, tee it up this fall at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for big savings. Save up to $150 off on Ping G425 woods. Upgrade your gear with discounted Wilson stand and cart golf bags. And stock up on TaylorMade Distance Plus golf balls. Now 2 dozen for $35. Don't miss these items and more happening now at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get a free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Choate's is offering some amazing specials for this month only. If you're considering upgrading your furnace before the cold weather comes, Choate's is offering $1,000 off a new Carrier furnace. If you don't need a new furnace, Choate's is now offering its early bird $60 furnace tune-up. This 22-point tune-up includes a free carbon monoxide test and heat exchanger inspection. And Choate's is your indoor air quality expert. For the best quality air for you and your family, it's recommended to have your air ducts cleaned every 8 years. This month only, Choate's will install a free UV light system when you get your air ducts cleaned, a $500 value. Call us at 347-8086 to take advantage of these amazing deals. So, turn to the experts with Choate's, and remember, let our family serve your family.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
Open the door, sit in the seat, turn the key, and go.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brent Norsworthy.
Back in on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
When do I get Jack Harlow? Y'all going to let
me
know?
He is Stats.
It'll be 5 o'clock hour.
At 5 o'clock hour.
Keep your ears in.
You have to make, is it in? Do we know that we're going to get it?
I don't know.
You're the ones and twos guy.
Yeah,
and
but I just
threes
have a
and
bunch
fours,
of
fives.
numbers with the rejoin sound. I don't know which one.
Did Jack throw down last night in Nashville? Any reports?
Oh, I actually know somebody who went. I
Yeah,
saw it on
man.
their Snapchat story. It looked like it was a good experience. It was sold out, but I started to think, because I was looking yesterday when we were talking, looked like a lot of seats were available. I'm starting to think people are just putting sold out on every concert just to make it look like, it's
Now,
sold
one
out.
of the old things in sports is not a ticket to be had. Nothing sells tickets like there's no tickets
That's
left.
right. That's right.
Jack Harlow. Jack Harlow 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
It is your guy. What should we suggest for him, Brian? What do you think?
I don't know.
As far as music
I don't
is
like
concerned.
Jack Harlow. So.
He likes me. You'll download music and give it a try, right?
Sure.
Let's see.
I'm not going to pay for it.
You don't have to pay for it.
Okay.
Well, what do you have Apple? You have Apple. Yeah. You're good.
iTunes.
Well, don't you? Well, do
No,
you
I
have
don't-
just iTunes or do you have Apple Music?
I don't think.
iTunes.
Yeah, you don't have Apple
never
Music.
mind. You might have to
You're
pay
gonna
for
have
it.
to
I'm paying $1.44.
Just get the Apple Music. How often do you actually use your music? Fair amount, right?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah, you might as well get Apple Music so you can
have-
download
Great
all that
deal,
for
yeah.
well, not for free, but it's what
Stream it, yeah, it's like
$8.99,
$9,
$6.99.
How many songs do I have on here? It used to tell me the number. I don't see a number now.
You'd have to scroll all the way to the bottom, I think.
I'm at the bottom.
Oh,
I'm under 99 Red Balloons by Nina.
all right. Like I said before the break, there's a new addition to College Game Day, and it's Pat McAfee. He's been around for. I mean, he's been around for some College Game Days. 2 years
Didn't
ago,
he appear on
was
the one
featured
from
a lot.
Memphis?
Yes.
Did they the Tigers?
Yes.
Wearing jorts.
And was good.
But he
was good, yeah.
he was featured more, 2 years ago. But him and ESPN had a fallout of sorts. I mean, like ESPN
It's
wouldn't allow
amazing how
people
you
on his
fall
show.
back in, isn't it?
Well, I think ESPN realizes he is a seller.
A sensation.
It's
He
ridiculous.
is.
But he'll be a
It's carved
full-time
a great
member
niche. It's more than
of
this.
College
It's carved
Game
a
Day.
career.
And we've talked about this. I think there's some people that don't take as kindly to Pat McAfee. It is what it is. I think this is late. I think this should have happened. I think some people also have
Game
the
Day
thought
needs to
that
work.
Pat McAfee is being shoved down their throats, and they don't really like that. They get annoyed by that. But I sort of wonder what it'll look like for a couple of years because Corso's going to move. He's going to be done in a couple, 2-3 years. And you wonder if Pat McAfee's the guy who slides in there and is that, rambunctious,
The loosey-goosey figure.
loose guy.
The class clown.
But Pat, for the most part,
I can remember
I'm not.
when Lee Corso wasn't just class clown on there, that it was football analysis, that is moved
No, and he's
away from that to total kind of
he used to be
caricature.
fantastic with analysis. I still think Dez.
And a lot of
I still
fun.
think
And a nice man.
I still think Dez is not very good with analysis. Herbie does the best with all that stuff, but
Well, he's the franchise.
when it comes to Pat, I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to comment on what I think about him on the air. I think he's fine. I think he does a good job. But this not working out the first time around, his beef with ESPN ended up working out for him.
He won.
Checks from WWE, FanDuel's paying him
He
$30
won.
million a year. YouTube, ESPN just got done with SiriusXM. And now I think he's going to do an alternative broadcast
It's when the stick man at the horseshoe
for certain
crap
college
festival
football
gets
games on
that stick
ESPN
and pulls
too.
everything his way.
He's unbelievable.
He just won.
He absolutely won. But attention, sports fans, your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus at 200%, BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. You need a sportsbook with integrity and longevity, and you need to know that you're going to get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today, 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now. Mention promo code Sports56Radio. That's promo code Sports56Radio. And you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Nobody does. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the game begins. Hour number 2 is on the way, and we lead it off talking a little more college football with Barrett Jones.
Tiger fans, football season is here, and we want you to catch all the action. For as low as $99, you can see all 7 home games as your Tigers continue their bowl streak and welcome foes such as Arkansas State, UCF, and Houston to Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. For tickets, visit GoTigersGoTix.com or call 901-678-2331 today. Go Tigers Go!
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations so you get the product you're looking for. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's time for another season of golf at Miramichi. You know the spot, 15 minutes north of downtown in Woodstock. I call it heaven. It's 330 acres of natural beauty, 7,400 yards of championship-level golf, but there are several different tee boxes which make it fun or competitive for every level of golf. And the practice facilities are as good as any country club, and every round of golf comes with a cart and complimentary range balls. You can really improve your game, and you'll love the prices too. Seniors can play Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for as low as $33. Again, the golf cart and the range balls are thrown in. The standard weekday rates are as low as $44. Friday, it's $50, and on Sunday, it's $55. You'll love the view from the terrace. You look out and see the best view in all of Shelby County. The whole experience, it's just fantastic. Go check it out yourself at Miramichi.
Want to sleep better, manage pain, ease anxiety, or just feel better? Have you tried hemp? Hemp 2.0 is a locally owned and operated full-service retail CBD and THC store in Collierville. Hemp 2.0 carries only the best and latest lines of all hemp-derived products, with over 100 different brands to choose from to meet all needs. Whether you want to combat pain and inflammation, sleepless nights, arthritis pain, or stress, Hemp 2.0 has something to improve your overall health and well-being. If you're looking for an unbeatable, uplifting, and euphoric feel, Hemp 2.0 now also carries all federally legal hemp-derived THC products. Have questions? Come by Hemp 2.0 and meet their knowledgeable staff or visit shophemp20.com. At Hemp 2.0, they provide a quality range of the best CBD and THC products, including edibles, topicals, smokables, tinctures, vapes, and their newest edition, infused drinks. Experience the finest, all natural products at Hemp 2.0 today. 3670 South Houston Levee Road in Collierville. Hemp 2.0, your one-stop shop for health, wellness, lifestyle.
Attention sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you with the tables. You need a sportsbook with integrity, longevity, and you need to know you're gonna get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now. Mention BetUS 2022, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the game begins.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
Ole Miss
Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM, your Mid-South sports station.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Dad, come on, you're going to fall on the barbecue.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Barrett Jones is former All-American at the University of Alabama along the offensive lineman. He graduated from ECS. He is a Memphis man, and he joins us now via the phone line. You can find him on Twitter at Barrett A. Jones. Barrett, how are you?
I'm doing good, guys. How are we doing?
Doing
great.
well. Glad to have you. Barrett, I was asked this question this morning by Dave Woloshian on his show, and I thought it was very provocative. He said he thinks this is the best the SEC's ever been. I don't know about that, but I do think it means, pardon the pun, it means more now. I think it means more to the fans and to writ large college football. You played in it just not that long ago. Do you think this is the best it's ever been?
I don't think you can say pardon the pun after that, by the way, Brett.
I don't know. Brett, you're way better at being a football historian than I am, so you would have a way better chance to answer that. It feels to me very top-heavy right now, so maybe that's good. Maybe that makes it better. I don't know. I feel like there's been some years where you had a lot more depth. Like I feel like I remember some years where there were like 4 top 10 teams. And right now, to me, there are 2 teams that are so far head and shoulders above the rest that I'm not sure. In fact, I really have no idea who's going to finish second in either, league or either division. I mean, I have some guesses, obviously, but you could convince me of a lot of different teams there. So, I don't know. I'm probably not ready to say that. It definitely is exciting, and there's a lot of fan bases that care a lot. I know that's not what you asked, but I think it's going to be really interesting to see with NIL money if we start to see some different teams up top. I do think that teams like Tennessee that just went out and got an $8 million quarterback, teams like A&M, teams
Arkansas,
that are willing to put up the money. You just wonder if that's going to have an effect. I feel like we're going to such a model that's so money focused that teams with a little more ability to get money out of their donors, maybe they're going to be more successful, and we will have a little more parity. So who knows? But I know we got 2 really, really good teams, and man, I don't know how you don't watch this first week and think those aren't the 2 best teams in the country by a long shot. Not that they're going to be the whole season, but week 1, it didn't look very close.
Barrett, you answered it very well, probably better than I did with Dave this morning around 10:40. I do know this, though. It's always been good, and it's always mattered. It might be better than ever, and I know how much it means to so many in the facilities war, in the spending, and now maybe even the NIL war. The number 2s in the East and the West, they're not just number 2. They're 8, 9, 10 miles behind number 1, aren't they?
Well, it looks like it after 1 week, but again, who knows how it'll turn out? But there was a wide gap on my television screen, and I think the one that really surprised me was Georgia. Man, They came out and just that was a very un-Georgia performance in a lot of ways. I mean, Georgia, in my mind, I expect them to kind of come out, look a little vanilla early, look a little stagnant, run the ball. And then, eventually they kind of wear the other team down and maybe they open it up late. That was not that Georgia team. That was like a touchdown every possession. Stetson Bennett in complete control, looked pretty modern, using tight ends in creative ways. That was a potent offense. So that offense to me looked I know it was one game, but that looked a lot better than their offense from a year ago. So I don't know, man. That was again. I'm not. Who knows if Oregon's actually the number 11 team in the country? But when you talk about a gap between number 3 and number 11, which I think we now know that Georgia's number 2. In fact, you might. I mean, look, if you tell me Georgia should be number 1 after last week, I'm not going to argue. It doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
But man, that was quite the performance from those guys.
And Stetson Bennett's character foil has become it's unbelievable to see like what he's built himself up to. Now, I ask this honestly because after week 1, I am bought into a certain extent. When we talk about Heisman races and we bring up Stetson Bennett's name, I think before the year a lot of people would say, okay, they're going to run the ball. He's not going to accrue the stats to get there. But after game 1, we know they're going to have the wins. And we see that, hey, 368 yards passing, 2 TDs, 1 rushing. Maybe the stats will be there. How much do you think we should be talking about Stetson Bennett potentially being around in a Heisman race late in the year?
In short, can I just say no?
Okay.
Let's not get carried away.
Not even meritorious service.
Look, he's a great. He played awesome and he's in complete control. But I don't see it. I think he's really good and he's playing at a really high level. But I'm not sure we're there yet. All
right, let's go to another guy, the defending Heisman Trophy winner, Bryce Young at Alabama. He's the only player this year in college football that can join Archie Griffin as back-to-back 2-time Heisman Trophy winners. Archie Griffin did it almost 50 years ago, 46, 47 years ago in back-to-back for Ohio State. We laugh about it. There's no retired numbers at Alabama because if they started, there wouldn't be any numbers left. If he goes back-to-back, wins Heisman Trophy, and this year finishes the deal on a national championship, they would almost have to retire number 9 for him, wouldn't they?
I don't know, man. It's there's so many guys that are so good now. It's hard to think, but 2 Heisman trophies back-to-back, that'd be pretty
special
lethal.
class.
So, that's a special class of its own. I don't know what they do. But he definitely got a shot to do it. That to me was the number one thing I was keeping an eye on in that Alabama game was along with a lot of other people that follow Alabama probably closer than I do, really had no idea who the playmakers are going to be on that offense. Now, let me rephrase. There's a lot of guys that it could be. I think everyone knew that. It's not like there's devoid of talent, obviously. There's a ton of guys that have
just don't know
how they recruited. We just don't know which ones they're going to be. I think a lot of people, myself included, expected Ja'Cory Brooks to be pretty involved after what he did in that Auburn game, and then obviously played a lot late in the year, and he hardly even played. So that's kind of very Alabama of Nick Saban, just to say, hey, he stepped up last year, but he had to earn a spot. He didn't earn it. Got beat out by apparently Trayshawn Holden and Kobe Prentice. Those are the guys really that had the ball most tonight. So those would not have been my top guesses as to who the guys with the most yards would have been. It's going to be really interesting to see if that's the guys throughout the whole season. But Bryce Young, there's no doubt, is going to make somebody a star. Jermaine Burton looked pretty good too, and so we know there's a lot of talent at that position. But who those guys going to end up being at the end of the year? That's certainly something to keep an eye on. I thought it was a very impressive performance, though, from a pretty unproven group of wide receivers there in game 1. I know it was Utah State, but everyone looked to be on the same page, and Bryce Young certainly looks like he has not skipped a beat.
For Alabama on the defensive side of the ball, last year, Pete Golding, he was under a lot of heavy criticism late in the year. Defense sort of struggled a little bit in certain games. Obviously, they return a lot of guys. I think they had 6 or 7 guys on preseason all-SEC lists, obviously led by Will Anderson Jr. there. Do you think that that's going to be a different group down the stretch of the season this year?
Absolutely. I think that group is stacked. I think they're very, very good. They have a chance to be the best defense in the country, one of the best defenses they've had in a few years at Alabama, really. There's talent at every level. There's still some questions at cornerback. Still some youth in the middle of that defense, but man, on the edges, some of those linebacker core as a whole is unbelievable. When you talk about obviously Will Anderson and then Dallas Turner, another guy who I think is going to really step up this year opposite of Will Anderson. Henry To'o is a really good player. So there's a lot of talent there on that Alabama defense. And then even at safety, I think Jordan Battle is a really good player. And Brian Branch, I think, is a guy to keep an eye on who I think will really step up and have a great year. there's just a lot of talent on that side of the football, and obviously they shut out Utah State. We'll see how they look against Texas. That'll be really interesting to see. I think it'll be a good test for them early in the year.
Our guest, Barrett Jones. Another thing from week one, we had one top 5 win. Ohio State ended up going ahead and getting that one. But it wasn't as dominant as I think a lot of people thought it would be. The 17.5-point spread, they didn't get quite there, only 21-10. How did you read that?
Yeah, I thought they looked a little sloppy out of the gate offensively. I thought they played probably better than I expected defensively. There's a lot of adjustments to be made. They obviously lost 2 unbelievable receivers in Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, and having to replace those guys. Now, obviously, Jackson Smith and Jigba is a guy who probably will be a high draft pick, but he's not used to being the guy, and so I think that they're going to be fine. There's a lot of talent there. They obviously played a lot better in the second half, found a way to win. But I feel like such an SEC homer. I try not to be, but like what my eyes told me was there's a big gap between 2 and 3. That's what my eyes told me, honestly, right now. Now, who knows how that'll look at the end of the year? I think C.J. Stroud's a really good player, and I think they'll continue to get better offensively. But there was, again, it's one game, and who knows how good anyone is that anyone's playing. That's the thing. You never know how good anyone is, so it's hard to even tell if they're playing good because you don't even know if the people they're playing are any good. But just eye-wise, I thought that they're going to be fine. I think they'll win the Big Ten pretty easily. But man, they got to really get a lot better to catch those other 2 teams because Alabama and Georgia this year looked very dynamic in week 1.
Barrett, the years
I feel like a broken record, guys. I'm sorry.
No,
I promise. I don't want to just talk about Alabama and Georgia the whole time. It's just I just have to. I can only go with what I saw.
Kind of hard not to.
That's right. The years you were there and what you saw there, and the big names kind of speak for themselves. Coach Saban's connection with Jimbo Fisher and even Billy Napier and even Lane Kiffin, Kirby Smart, but all the different people that were analysts and GAs that when you were there, that building. I mean, it is just taken over. Not just college football, but it's a heavy influence on NFL with the guys there. With Brian Daboll getting ready to be the head coach of the New York Giants. All roads have really led the last 12 years through Tuscaloosa.
No doubt, there's been a lot of people come out of there, and obviously Steve Sarkisian, a guy they'll face next week. He's from there. You saw the impressive performance by Billy Napier and his crew. Week 1, that was a really fun game to watch. And so, yeah, it's fun to watch some of those guys do well. Not surprising, obviously. Coach Saban does a great I think I've said his talent evaluation skills, both players and coaches, is one of the strengths that people don't talk about enough with him. He does a great job of finding great coaches because he loses about half his coaches every single year. So he's always having to look for new guys.
So Brett posed the question about the SEC as a whole, team to team, being one of the best SECs we've seen in a long time. What about this quarterback group? It seems like there's a lot of guys top to bottom in the SEC, more than we're used to or accustomed to seeing.
No doubt. There's a lot of guys that I still want to see more about. I think I like some of the things I've seen initially. I think Anthony Richardson's a good example. He had some really exciting plays. I think he's got a ways to go to be, an elite, truly elite, high level, maybe Heisman contending type quarterback.
Right.
But athletically, he's unbelievable. I mean, that's got to be one of the best athletes in college football. And I think he's a guy who has an enormously high ceiling. Will Levis is a guy who is a really good player who I think has a lot of traits to be really successful in the NFL. And then Spencer Rattler, too. I mean, he's a guy who, has all the talent in the world and who made a lot of good plays in that game. A lot of those guys got to get more consistent. But they show flashes of real greatness. So, yeah, and then obviously with Bryce and Stetson, there's a lot of guys in the league this year that are really good. And that's the thing is when you have a good quarterback, you always got a chance. Hendon Hooker is another guy who played well. I'm excited to see that Tennessee-Pittsburgh game coming up this week. I think that'll be a fun one. I'll say something. I think it's going to be a Tennessee boat racing. I really do.
Whoa! Really?
I saw the line 6.5, and I think it's not enough. I'm bullish right now on Tennessee. I think they're gonna beat them by 2 touchdowns. So excited about watching that one, and excited about the strides they've made in Knoxville.
Look at you, Barrett Jones. I know you know and work with around a lot of UT people around town. They're going to start to love you after that 5 years you were on campus whipping you put on Tennessee. They're going to fall in love with you.
I like when Tennessee is good.
I do too. The league's better. It's more fun around here.
There's no doubt. It's more fun when they're good. They just haven't been very good in the last 15 years.
They haven't been.
I think they got a chance to be good. There's still some holes in that team, but they're fun to watch, that's for sure. And they have a system they believe in. So they play at a ridiculously fast pace, and that gives people problems. Pittsburgh has some serious problems in their secondary from that first game I watched against West Virginia. So I think we're going to see some big points put up by the men in orange.
Barrett, you know I love offensive linemen. If I'm in my next life, I'm going to come back as an offensive line coach with my hat turned around, screaming and hollering around the building all day, kind of in Larry Bechtel, Joe Pendry style. And you know Gabe's offense.
Big old dip in his lip.
No dip. I choke to death on that stuff. But Gabe talked about having to block in-game Ed Oliver at Houston, and I told him you have talked about what it was like blocking Aaron Donald in practice. Who was it in-game that Barrett Jones, when the game was over, you said, man, I'm glad that's over. I've had enough of him today?
Whew, that's a tough one.
The Georgia defensive lineman on that bad ankle.
I bet practice.
Yeah,
I bet you had practice battles that were pretty
no,
bad, too.
Honestly, I always say that the toughest guys I had to go against were in practice. Like Marcel Darius was a guy who he had a good NFL career. He was one of the most talented dudes I've ever been around ever. He was unbelievably talented and quick, and when he wanted to beat me, he could beat me anytime he wanted to beat me. That was no fun. I always had to block good players. I blocked Terrence Cody a lot. It was really hard to block in the run game.
How was that?
I had to block Courtney Upshaw all the time. That was hard. Jesse Williams, another guy who was a really good player. So I blocked all kind of guys. When the game came, I was relieved to get to block somebody else other than the guys I had to go get to practice.
With Terrence Cody, did you ever have just straight up base blocks, single on single, having to go against him? And did you ever get to move? Did you move him back ever? That's probably better. Yeah.
You just covered up about a third of him, and then went from there. I was going to say covered him up.
And I
couldn't cover him up.
Did you see Big Dez from Florida too? Have you seen number 21 from Florida, the guy they have up front?
Big.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, I love him. I love a Ted Washington.
I never thought
Gilbert Brown type.
I never thought. So Brett and I were talking about it on Monday, and he said, "Did you see it?" Yeah, I saw Desmond Watson. Yeah, he played. And honestly, he can move around pretty well for that size. I never thought I'd say 390, and I'd be saying under. I was under. He's listed at 415 program weight. That's insanity. That's insane. You sort of wonder a guy like that getting down to about 370, 360. How much better he can move around.
No, nobody is designed to be 415. So
no,
they need to get that slimmed down a little bit. That's you want some quality of life there.
No question. But Barrett, always appreciate it, man. We'll catch up next week.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Always fun being on.
Thank you, Barrett. Enjoy the games. Barrett Jones with us. Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel, the start of the NFL season tomorrow night. The best place to practice your touchdown dance is at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. FanDuel is kicking off week 1 with a no-sweat bet for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a new customer or if you already have an account. You'll get free bets back if you don't win. Just log in and see for yourself. The money lines, final score, same game parlay. Here's what I like this weekend. In a big conference matchup, a big division matchup, Texans plus the 11 at home against the Colts. If you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up with promo code CASH to get started. That's promo code CASH. Either way, celebrate the return of football season with a no-sweat bet during Week 1. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days at receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Now we have some NFL news ahead of Game 1 tomorrow. Bills, Rams, NBC. It's going to be fantastic. But we do have some NFL news. An Ole Miss Rebel gets paid. Also, trouble in New York. I know we're getting used to that, but there is trouble in for the Jets. Jets are struggling with their quarterback
We're
situation.
going to get to it. Big, great new deal for Dawson Knox. He told us at the spring game, he was really reserved about it. He said, I want to get a new deal before next year. Don't want to play it out in the media. Don't want to try to push anybody. He said, I want to stay in Buffalo for my entire career. He told us, quality of life there, even with the winners and those great fans, he said, just tremendous.
And let's discuss it when we come back.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Have you been looking for a cigar lounge that's laid back and offers style and a full bar and a great selection of cigars? Now let me tell you about the G-Spot Cigar Lounge, Memphis's premier cigar lounge, offering a wide selection of cigars, open 7 days a week starting at 12 noon for your smoking pleasure. Come kick back, enjoy a beer or a cocktail and a cigar while watching sports on one of their several TVs. G-Spot Cigar Lounge on Instagram and Facebook at the G-Spot Memphis, located at 6135 Mount Moriah Road, Suite 116.
Robert is a real Prevagen user and content contributor.
I am Robert Strickler. My wife Joyce and I have been married for 53 years. Certainly one of the really important things in my life are our children and our grandchildren. I am essentially a writer. I've been involved in communications in the media. I've been an avid fly fisherman for at least 40 or more years. I've been taking Prevagen for at least 8 years. For me, the greatest benefit over the years has been that Prevagen seems to help me recall things and also think more clearly, have a crisper ability to remember and think through things. And I enthusiastically recommend Prevagen. It has helped me an awful lot.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life. Prevagen is available in stores everywhere. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired, this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Collierville Auto Center is all about trucks and Jeeps, and the inventory is all stocked up. Been looking for that special ride? You're covered from the basics on up. Want to sell your truck or Jeep? Then bring it in and get a fair deal. The technicians at Collierville Auto Center know just about all there is to know when it comes to trucks and Jeeps. So don't be afraid to ask questions. They've probably heard them all. Every truck on the lot has been fully serviced from top to bottom and bumper to bumper, and there are warranties available. Collierville Auto Center, 651 West Poplar in Collierville, and online at colliervilleautocenter.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
How do you want that cooked? Burnt to a crisp or bloody as hell?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
You heard Mr. Announcer, man. The second hour of our show is brought to you by Big Green Egg. And I always talk about the best ability being the availability, whether it's in sports or grilling. And the Big Green Egg will be available to you year-round, 24/7, 365. Most grills, most people, it's their last grill they've ever had to buy. 20, 30-plus years, they've had it. They've never had an issue. And that's twofold. Highest quality ceramic in the game, so it's not going to rust. And also, they've had a warranty since 1995 on all those ceramic parts. So if you have an issue, it breaks, it malfuncts, guess what? You send it into them, they send you back one free of charge. You get rolling. It's that simple. 100% natural lumpwood charcoal grill, so the flavor is going to be superior to that of gas. And you can smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill ribs, pork butt, You can do whatever you want. You can sear some burgers on there. I've seen some, and I always talk about my buddy making the apple crumble. You can do whatever you want. And I've even seen pizzas, and I think they sell a pizza dish on the side that you can buy and put in there to make those pizzas, but that you can do anything you want on the Big Green Egg. It's so versatile. 7 different sizes. They really do have a size and a price point for everyone. You can find it at these retailers around the area: Garden Spas and Pool, Germantown Hardware, Hamilton's Fireplace and Grills, and both the Aces in town, East Memphis Ace and Cordova Ace Hardware. So if you're looking for a do-it-all, reliable, long-lasting grill at a great price point, look no further than the Big Green Egg.
Every Saturday should be Big Green Egg Day, but this Saturday is one. Who was it said? I think it was Brent Beard yesterday. It said this Saturday's schedule is better than last week's. I think that's the case, and also for you guys, I've been 3 times. If you get a chance, go to the Southern Heritage Classic Saturday. If for no other reason, there will be a lot of Big Green Eggs out there for one of the best tailgating scenes you'll ever see. And it is so much fun. Hope the weather holds off, because they've this time of year you have that delay like at Mississippi State, and they're calling for that a little bit Saturday night. Maybe it'll kick on out, but Big Green will be prominent out at the fairgrounds at the stadium location Saturday, and then the next Saturday for Tigers in Arkansas State.
By the way, Jackson State, did you see the whooping they put on Florida A&M?
I did. I saw
and Shedeur Sanders
can do from the pocket. What he can do from the pocket.
That was scary. How good he was. I mean, I knew he was going to take a leap, and I knew he was, out of high school, fantastic talent, offers from just basically everywhere around the country. But the leap he took year 1 to year 2 has been fantastic.
We were talking yesterday about Johnny Majors and great players that become coaches, and they haven't become great yet, but it sure looks like Eddie George and Deion Sanders are on the way, and they sure check the box as a player. Now to do it as head coaches.
And honestly, this year, to see Jackson State that hyped up, I thought that was, incredible considering what's going on in Jackson right now. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been updated on the water situation, but they've been on under a boil water notice. Easy for me to say, but they've been dealing with a lot of issues.
I think better
since the flooding.
I think I saw where all the reserves were pumped up to full level, and they were close to getting
somewhat back to normal.
It's
a shame.
It needs to be repaired permanently, not just stopgap.
But for those that don't know about Shedeur Sanders, since we just mentioned it, 29 for 33, 323, 5 TDs last week.
Now I should know this, and I'm sorry I don't. I'm embarrassed I don't. The winner of the SWAC, like if Jack, they don't go into the FCS playoffs though, do they? Do they opt out? Do they not accept?
I think they can,
because a lot of times some of their classics, like the Bayou Classic, is being played.
I'm ashamed I don't know
when those playoffs start. I know the Ivy League opts out. The Ivy League champion will not send a team to FCS playoffs, even if Harvard and Yale goes 10-0.
They're one of so the way I thought I understood, SWAC, Ivy, and MEAC opt out, or they don't automatically participate in the FCS playoffs.
That's what I'm thinking too.
But can they? Someone
they should.
I feel ashamed I don't know this.
I do too, and I think that would give those HBCUs more profile, especially tapping into this time with Coach Prime there. This is the renaissance of that football.
I like the Celebration Bowl and the ESPN contract they have.
I do too.
I think that's an interesting one and good. It gets watched. Good ratings on it every year.
And the Bayou Classic, that is arguably as big as a Sugar Bowl. For New Orleans and for New Orleans, making money and having tourism dollars flow through.
No question. Now, NFL Week 1 is going to commence tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it. But the Bills, who will be participating.
I just want to hear the NBC opening music tomorrow night.
Yeah. Bills will be participating tomorrow night, and there's still contracts getting done. They get one done with Dawson Knox. You mentioned it before the break. He thought he was going to get one done, but 4 years, $53.6 million for Dawson Knox, and he had really his breakout year last year. Lot of TD,
in his third year,
a lot of TD catches, and down the stretch of the season, he was very reliable for Josh Allen, and I think him and Josh Allen have a real serious synergy.
Yeah, and that quarterback, tight end, and now with the rules, that tight end, he's just running down the middle of the field, one of the most athletic, bigger, faster types that can't be hit. I mean, we're seeing
and it's
that kind of is this the best CC? This is the best tight end level of play at the NFL ever.
And it's also hard to hit those tight ends. Dawson Knox is 6'4", 260. I mean, it's not an easy guy to go, if you're a safety, go and try to lay out.
Is this my opening about when Ole Miss once had A.J. Brown and D.K. Metcalf and Dawson Knox, and they never threw it to him?
Yeah, you want to do it? Yeah, it's too late.
So well chronicled, it makes me sick. Made me sick at the time. I knew he was that good athlete. I didn't know he'd be all this.
Yeah, I mean, also there is something to be said about all those guys on one offense. It's hard to spread the ball around, but no, you got to figure it out with all those guys on one. But for him, this is a top of the market deal. I mean, this is they expect some big things coming out of him. What's it, year 4 for him?
Yeah,
it'll be year 4,
starting year 4, and it will readjust the tight end market. It is a robust tight end pay market.
And he's also, I think some of that money for him goes because of the fact he will get in line and he'll block for you. He's not that modern day Kyle Pitts, a Travis Kelce type, although he can go out on a route and he can make some good catches, but he'll get his hand in the dirt, he'll be hipped off, and he'll block. And that's something that the Bills need to take advantage of this year, get that run game going.
This is no doubt the first time the Bills have been this much the hunted, this much the favorite, almost expected for them to be in Super Bowl 57 since that 4 straight. And some of that 4 straight, nobody expected them to win at all. Maybe that first one that they lost to the Giants on the Scott Norwood miss, that was probably the best chance. Kind of got blasted by Dallas a couple of times. And blasted by Washington in an historic Mark Rypien performance. But they're counting on it now.
They have to capitalize on the Josh Allen era in Buffalo. You just have to. Because they're notable. They're just noted for falling short and losing Super Bowls in a row and being that type of team. And I picked them to win this year. I think that's a popular pick. Like if you talk to 20 people, I'm sure over half are going to pick the Bills to win the Super Bowl because of their roster and their makeup. But they have to take advantage ASAP because also with the money they've doled out to Josh Allen, it's going to be harder and harder year after year to pay other guys. And they're probably
Kansas City.
They're probably the way Josh Allen has been playing and the way he will play this upcoming year and going forward. You may have to restructure him and pay him more here relatively soon.
Is this the year we have the windows closing conversation about Kansas City?
Oh, I don't know if I'm there. We thought last year was the issue, and then they showed us, hey guys, shut up, calm down. Still have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. Now Tyreek Hill's not there, and I think there's a lot of reports coming out saying, oh well, Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be their number 1 guy as a wide receiver. He's going to take up a whole lot of production. He'll be fantastic out of the slot. But I'm not fully buying into that. Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who is it? Mecole Hardman. None of those guys come close to equaling what Tyreek Hill is going to leave behind.
Just take the top off. None of them come close to it. Now, will Tyreek Hill be able to take the top off in Miami?
I think there's potential there, but obviously, to his arm's not fantastic. I thought. Did you see the Week 3 preseason ball he threw that people just tore apart?
Yeah.
Over the middle. I didn't think. I mean, he threw it 55 yards in the air. It was a little short, and you can call it underthrown. But, I mean, if he was going to lead Tyreek Hill on that play, he would have had to uncork that 85 yards.
Yeah. He just couldn't fail at Alabama with all those stars, and he was good at Alabama.
Same argument with Mac Jones, too.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
But Mac Jones had a much better rookie year than Tua had.
Yes. And Tua also got injured in the middle of it and had issues there. But back to your original point with the Chiefs, I don't think we'll be having that conversation. Do you? You think we'll be having? You think we'll be talking about their window closing?
I think we could. I know where I have Kansas City. I have Kansas City as 3rd in the West, with the Raiders winning it and the Chargers coming in 2nd, and I have Kansas City as the 7 seed.
My only question about the Raiders too is, defensively are they going to be able in the back end to hold up? They don't have, Jonathan Abram, Trayvon Moehrig, they don't really have guys in the back end that are really scary or playmakers.
It feels like Carr will be in some wild games with his defense.
But I also think, can their front seven, their edge rushers make up?
That's kind of that division, though. It goes back to their AFL roots with all those teams being pass-happy teams for 60 years
even
now. They were when nobody else was.
Even the Chargers have holes. Run defense isn't there. They don't have good linebackers, but my gosh, when you go look at the stars they have, J.C. Jackson, Joey Bosa, my gosh, I'm losing my mind. Khalil Mack, Justin Herbert, you assume they're going to be good. But there's holes on every single one of those teams in the AFC West, but it's going to be a ridiculous division.
That division, going back in football time, it really launched the air raid, the passing back to, Sid Gilman with the Chargers and the AFL with John Hadle and Lance Allworth, the Chiefs with Hank Stram with Lynn Dawson, the Raiders.
Eric Coryell.
Eric Coryell with the Chargers. And Al Davis loved the deep ball as much as any football guy ever.
Mm-hmm. Now, moving out of that division, the AFC East we'll see. I think you have the Bills at the top, and then I think a lot of people would pick the Patriots second. Dolphins, depending on what you think about Tua, they could be potentially second. I think they have more talent.
Only Buffalo makes playoff noise out of the AFC East, right?
Yes, I think so. You know what? I'm not going to say they're going to make noise, but I'm still in big wait-and-see mode with the Dolphins. I am. They have a bunch of talent. It's undeniable. They have probably one of the best left tackles in football. They've done everything they can to make that O-line better. You have Tyreek Hill. You have Jalen Waddle, who set the rookie receptions record.
Got Miami in the playoffs.
I know. I've convinced you. I've brought you around on them and the Saints. But I'm not saying they're going to make noise in the playoffs, but I think they can make noise during the regular season more than people are expecting. Also, the bottom feeder, AFC East, the Jets. Zach Wilson. It was being reported immediately after the injury preseason week 1 when I don't know why he was cutting so hard in preseason that way, but things happen. He tore his meniscus, had to get it scoped, got a little bit of surgery. They said, okay, maybe he'll be ready for week 1. Turns out he's not going to be ready until week 4 at Pittsburgh. Joe Flacco will be starting for the first 3 weeks.
Delaware's finest, Joe Flacco. That wasn't the plan.
No, it wasn't.
Now, how do you miss it that badly medically that he might be back week 1? No, it's week 4. Okay, might be back week 1.
Is that one of those
week 2?
And I've always been under the thought that you should under promise, over deliver on those type of things. You should say, okay, maybe he'll be back week 5, and then he comes back week 4, and people are happy about it. But to do that the way they did it, week 1, yeah, he'll be ready. He'll be ready to go.
Week 4.
And now you have to deal with Joe Flacco for 3 weeks. And
that's 0-3. And then what do you have in Zach Wilson? Hey, good luck. Here's your team.
Okay, listen, I think the Jets stink, so 0-3 is very possible. Are we so sure that right this second, I have not seen anything good out of Zach Wilson in the NFL. But he does give those fans more hope for the future, potentially.
Yeah, I ain't seen.
Are we sure? Are we positive that Joe Flacco can't lead that offense a little better than Zach Wilson at this moment? Because I don't think we are.
I know this. I know Daniel Jones has shown more, and he hasn't done anything than I think if the Jets stay with Wilson as long as the Giants have stayed with
You
Jones.
think you make something happen?
No. I think Daniel Jones looks like a star compared to Zach Wilson.
Okay. And
not going to be many wins combined in New York.
No, there won't. And that's one of my big preseason predictions. In
Go to MetLife and boot it
across
to death.
The other New York team. I think Tyrod Taylor will take over for Daniel Jones at some point. Brian Daboll is going to get sick of it because they're not. They're not going to re-sign Daniel Jones. Yeah. They're just not.
This is experimental throwaway year.
Yeah, it's what they have, and they're in a weird cap situation from the old GM. They're trying to rebuild everything. They just have him on the roster.
They get him and got him good, boy.
What was it, 4 years he was there, and he set them back.
Jerry Reese before that was bad. They got so comfortable, so lazy with those two Eli Super Bowls.
Yes. And it's as much as it's weird for me with like Eli Manning, I never thought he was like a premier quarterback in the NFL any year he played, but he did win 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. He hit a lot. He did. He was at least steady at that quarterback position where he could potentially win you a game week in, week out. Where you didn't have to worry that much about who you're going to run out there every week. They've had to worry about Daniel Jones every week of these 4 long years. And Dave Gettleman, and you say Jerry Reese, yes, I think that was the beginning of it. Dave Gettleman set them back 10 years.
Hurt them badly. And almost the lasting image for me of Daniel Jones in New York is when the turf monster tackled him on the run. I mean, just nobody within 30 yards, and down goes Jones.
He was moving, though, wasn't he?
He's so much speed ground into the ground.
He's a lot more. He's a lot faster than I thought he was. But geez, yeah, those New York teams are going to struggle badly. I still need to see, by the way, and I know I opened with the show with this. Lamar Jackson. You really think he's played this well through this whole process? And he says he's going to his extension deadline with the Ravens. He's done Friday.
It's pay him now or pay him even bigger later. It's almost the Aaron Judge move.
But there's risk involved.
Oh, sure.
I like removing risk in these situations. And for him, he runs the ball a lot.
He does, but if it all went horribly, he's set financially for the rest of his life.
Yes. Yeah, no.
If it goes great and he hits the big lick, then
the rest of his kid's life, his grandkids' life, his great-grandkids, great-great-great-grandkids. I get it.
It's more than we can imagine.
I get that. But I feel like, and I don't know, you may or may not agree with this. He wants $250 million guaranteed. If he just decided that he was going to hold out right this second, completely hold out, he'd get that $250 million guaranteed. The Ravens would have no choice. Who else are they going to start at quarterback? Anthony Brown? Tyler Huntley? Okay, have fun not making the playoffs, especially in that division. So yes, I think he's the long-term outlook. If he gets through this year unscathed and gets him to a playoff berth and everything goes well, yes, long-term outlook good. But short-term, I think there's a little too much risk involved. But, hey, we'll see how it plays itself out. We have to go ahead and get to a break. We're going to switch gears when we come back. And we have a little baseball to talk about. Doug Gottlieb has apologized to Casey Close of Excel Sports Management about what he said in July about Freddie Freeman. Also, the Braves and the Mets tied atop the NL East after last night. That when we come back.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Golfers, tee it up this fall at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for big savings. Save up to $150 off on Ping G425 woods. Upgrade your gear with discounted Wilson stand and cart golf bags. And stock up on TaylorMade Distance Plus golf balls. Now 2 dozen for $35. Don't miss these items and more happening now at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get a free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Let's face it, food shortages are a real threat now. Supply chain breakdowns, inflation, fuel prices, global conflicts, fertilizer cutbacks, farmers being encouraged not to plant. The stage is set for the peanut butter to hit the fan. But for some reason, Americans are still in denial about food shortages. Listen, we don't take risks with other things in our lives, so why take risks with your food security? Those who know what's coming are using today to prepare. Millions of Americans have purchased Ready Hour emergency food from My Patriot Supply, the brand people look for when they're ready for real preparedness. MyPatriotSupply.com is America's largest preparedness company. Get stocked up on emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage to get you through tough times ahead. Your other choice is to stand in government food lines, hoping for a handout. As we both know, that's not an option. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Hi, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. For 38 years, Corky's been proud to serve our legendary slow-smoked barbecue in our dining room and drive-thru. Whether you're stopping by to pick up a barbecue sandwich or some of our award-winning catfish, you can add a third of a rack of our world-famous ribs for only $6.99. You heard that right. Add a third of a rack of ribs to any order for only $6.99.
Encore flavor, Corky's Barbecue.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
I think this is the best chicken I ever had.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back in on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe, he's Stats. Looks like Aaron Judge has just hit number 55.
Take a ride on that.
He's been heating up too lately. I mean, he's been fantastic all year, but
can he get to 70?
Long ball? I know. I think he'll beat I think he can get past the franchise record pretty easily at this point.
What's the Skip Bayless hot take show?
Undisputed, I believe.
Next on Undisputed, can he get to 7? Is there enough time?
And I'm still going to stick by my take. I think Albert should be in the lineup most nights for the rest of the year for the Cardinals.
3-3, bottom of the ninth in the Bronx. Twins and Yankees.
Mariners up 4-2 on the White Sox.
There you go.
There you go, Bryant.
Go M's.
Yeah. And the wild card races are not they're not heating up like we
look at the
are
champs.
used to.
Look at the Braves. They lead 6-2 right now in the top of the 7th over Oakland. Nothing says a September baseball matchup like the Braves visiting Oakland, does it?
And the Mets beat the Pirates today. So there is that. But they're both, I mean, if everything holds, still 86 and 51. The Braves have caught them.
And the Mets and Pirates play another one tonight.
But all this whole time, hasn't there been the thought with the Braves and the Mets, like, eventually the Braves are going to catch them? Like, we sort of know.
I didn't think so, and I love him.
Buck Showalter and the Mets.
This is the knock against Buck, isn't it?
And the Mets. And the Mets.
Kind of
as a whole.
April, May, June, July, August,
September, October.
And it plays out.
But no, I feel
that's the knock on him.
But I'm saying the Mets too. The Mets do this.
They do.
They've been known to do this. It's talented, and Steve Cohen's done well spending money, and they have a lot of talent on that team. But they're just slowing down, and obviously they're not.
He's proud of being rich too. I don't blame him.
I mean, he's probably the most outward social media owner in the league.
Yeah, he'll tell you in a second. I got more than you.
Well, at least the Mets are not as bad as their counterparts in New York right now. Yankees just can't get it going right.
I mean, it felt like a all New York World Series a lot of the summer.
You just pointed this out to me too. 4.5 games back the Rays are. That was 10
just 4 in the all important loss column.
That was 10, 11 recently. That's insane.
And I said it yesterday. The Rays, I love it. They're just not scared of the Yankees at all, and that's one of the biggest budget differentials in sport.
Mm-hmm. And then Dodgers almost
the Yankees waste more than the Rays make.
Doesn't it feel like the Dodgers are almost quietly doing what they're doing, 51 over 500 right now? It's like quietly. Like everyone just, okay, Dodgers are doing their thing. It's fine.
Magic number of 8 for the Dodgers. I mean, they're
19 games up on the Padres. 19 games up. That's ridiculous on a 75-win team at this point in the year.
And this is all-in year for the Padres. To be 20 back in the loss column.
Now, speaking of the Dodgers, Freddie Freeman, we know about what happened earlier this year when it came to Doug Gottlieb putting out that rumor about Casey Close, his agent from Excel Sports Management. He basically said the Braves' final offer was not posed to Freddie Freeman by Casey Close. Now, Casey Close but he sued him, sued Doug Gottlieb pretty seriously for libel in July. Doug Gottlieb now via Twitter has said his sources were phony, and it looks like most will be forgiven. But that's not a good look at all.
It's not, and Gabe, I told you, and I like Doug Gottlieb, not because he's on these airwaves.
Not my favorite, but I can palate him.
And he can tweet "Good morning" on Twitter.
Credit card.
And somebody's going to raise the credit card stuff at Notre Dame. And I've asked before today, what's the statute of limitations for when you're a 20-year-old at Notre Dame and you have an indiscretion, you stole from a teammate. This is why people won't give you a statute of limitations. And then he backs it up as an adult with this.
Well, but he's also, here's the thing. I have seen him on multiple occasions hammer guys in sports leagues. Whether it's the NBA, it doesn't matter. He kills guys for their indiscretions, their issues off the field, court, the whole 9 yards. So, part of me can accept that because it's like, you can't. If you have skeletons in the closet, casting stones in a house made of glass.
Right. But he can tweet a holiday picture of his family, and somebody will respond, yeah, what about stealing your teammate's credit card?
But he's a known with – I'm going to use this word because I think it's somewhat fair. He's known kind of loudmouth in the media. So,
to punch him in the mouth feels good.
That comes with the territory. If you're going to be –
you lead with your chin, guess what?
Yes. And people come back, they'll punch it. That's just how it works. But he why
have I tried to defend Doug Gottlieb so long?
Listen to this. Casey Close suing him, I thought was for libel was a little much. I know he doesn't want that on Excel Sports Management, but I think it's also a good thing that he's sort of trying to now that it's being forgiven. It looks like Casey Close is going to drop and say, okay, everything's somewhat forgiven. I would imagine Doug Gottlieb's going to have to pay out of pocket for a little bit, right?
Yeah, we don't ever take him serious again on a breaking story.
But how often have we really taken it? He's not a scoop guy. He's not really a scoop guy.
He ain't Woj.
He's a take guy.
He's not Woj.
Yeah. Now, it's getting close to dinner time, and I have a place you need to go for the best barbecue in town, and that's Central Barbecue, where smoke is their sauce. 4 locations, open daily, Midtown on Central Avenue, downtown by the Civil Rights Museum, Summer, and then the one on Poplar you can see me at. You can also order delivery if you go to eatcbq.com and click order delivery. But smoked turkey is the best thing on their menu, but you can also get that pulled shoulder. It's fantastic on a sandwich, on a plate. That barbecue sauce, they have a bunch of different flavors. It's great. And then gluten-free options, vegetarian options, portobello mushroom sandwich, the sides, mac and cheese, greens, whatever you want, they have it. They have desserts for you. Anything you want, they have at Central Barbecue. If you want to ship that barbecue anywhere, eatcbq.com, click that shipping tab, send it to people. I do it during the holidays. People love it. They don't get to get this barbecue all the time. Send it to them. Take care of them during the holidays or when they have a birthday. Also, catering for 15 or more people, 901-527-9990. Again, 901-527-9990. But if you're just looking for a nice dinner tonight, any night, over the weekend, head to one of those 4 locations, Midtown, on Central Avenue, downtown by the Civil Rights Museum, Summer, and then the one on Poplar I frequent. If you see me in there, say hello. And say Gabe sent you at that Poplar location. Now let's go ahead and get to hour number 3, and we lead it off talking about one of the biggest games of the weekend. Top 25 matchup in Pittsburgh, Acrisure Field. It's going to be Pitt versus UT. UT 6.5-point favorites. Vince Ferrara joins us next.
Let's say you need a new car, so you go to a dealer, right? Wrong. You need to go to Mount Moriah Auto Sales. Why? Because why limit yourself to just one kind of car when you can choose from all kinds of cars, SUVs, and trucks? All different years, all different makes, all different models. Really good prices, too. Now, everyone says that about the money, but Mount Moriah Auto Sales proves it. They work hard to get you the deal you want, even financing. Plus, they have a huge full-service department to help you take care of your car. So many choices at Mount Moriah Auto Sales. They're almost unlimited, with new vehicles coming in every day. Now, these are really good cars and trucks and SUVs that you'll want to drive. And yes, low miles too. It's so easy. Just go to Mount Moriah Auto Sales, tell them what you want, but keep your eyes open because you might just find the car of your dreams. Mount Moriah Auto Sales makes it all possible. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner, right on the price, right on Mount Moriah.
Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique, fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive, always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started and be sure to sign up with promo code CASH so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only, $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Our long national nightmare is over. It's finally time for football, and there's no better place to catch a game downtown than at Memphis's perfect neighborhood bar, Bell Tavern. Tucked into the alley behind 117 Prime, Bell Tavern was a well-kept secret for a long time. But now the secret is out. Bell Tavern is the perfect place to watch a game. Not too big, not too small, not too bright, not too dark. Ice-cold beer, delicious cocktails, the friendliest bar staff in town, all wrapped up in a cozy bar you'll never want to leave. It's Bell Tavern. Now you're in on the secret.
What I would tell people is that you don't have to be in pain anymore.
Meet Dr. Justin Garzone, Medical Director at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in using advanced regenerative medicine to give people lasting relief from chronic joint pain.
What's exciting is that I get to see patients with our treatments actually get better.
Have you discovered regenerative medicine? It's an all-natural way to use the power of your own body to restore and repair damaged tissue.
We're using things that are already in your body, and we're simply concentrating them and then put it in an area of your body that you're having the pain so that your body can start the regenerative process, the healing process.
For pain in your knees, hips, back, shoulders, don't assume the old treatments are the only treatments. Avoid drugs and surgery and get lasting relief. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
I've always gotten tons of UTIs. Cranberry products never worked for me, and I was desperate for a way to be proactive. I'm Jenna Ryan, CEO and founder of Eucora. We've worked with doctors to develop effective urinary tract health products. Just mix a packet of Eucora with water and drink it when you need support, like right after intimacy. Eucora is helping over 100,000 women stay healthy. Ready to join them? Get 30% off at eucora.com/radio. That's UQORA.com/radio.
The summer clearance sale is happening now at Family Leisure. You can get up to $2,000 off on a swimming pool. Yes, you heard me. $2,000 off on swimming pools. Get it installed in 2022. You'll be ready for summer 2023. Plus, if you are more of a do-it-yourselfer, Family Leisure has specials that are just too good to pass up, with free ladder upgrades and a whole season worth of chemicals. No one else can offer that kind of deal. Looking for patio furniture? In-stock sets are up to 30% off. Play gyms and trampolines, you can get up to $1,000 off with free installation. We don't know how long these hot temperatures will last, but we do know these prices will not. So take advantage of the summer clearance sale. It's happening right now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Whidden Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Let's talk some numbers here.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
I used to feel so devastated.
Hour 3 of Sports Time with Gabe and Stats is here. I'm Gabe. He's Stats. Producing the program is Brian Dagus. And joining us via the phone line is Vince Ferrara at Vince Sports on Twitter. He's a show host for the Sports Animal 99.1 in Knoxville. And he's here to talk some Vols and what we're going to see this weekend in that top 25 matchup in Pittsburgh at Acrisure Stadium. Vince, how are you?
I'm good, guys. Yeah, I don't know how often I'm going to say the name of the formerly stadium formerly known as Heinz Field, but we'll talk about the game and the Johnny Majors Classic and all that. But the stadium name, we don't have that down yet.
It's good stuff, though. It's still at the confluence, though. It's where the three rivers all come together.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll always be known as Heinz to me, though. It's tough, but I did just get it right, so I got to give myself a little credit.
It'll take a while, but Vince, you like us, we're in the branding and we're in the sales world. I call them whoever pays. I call them that.
Exactly. And I know people try to complain about it, but hey,
and I love on them.
So I'm curious from your vantage point, and like you look at Tennessee versus Ball State, 59-10. Hendon Hooker was steady as he was last year down the stretch of the season. Offense looked fantastic. They ran for 236. Was there anything in that game that was a negative that you still are that's still up in the air that you're questioning?
Well, two things I would say. One is the pass rush. They weren't able to get a sack against Ball State. Although Tim Banks still felt pretty good. He said they graded out pretty well, showed flashes, did impact Ball State, some behind the line of scrimmage and pushing the pocket. But then Ball State didn't hold on to the football at all. I mean, they were getting rid of it in less than 3 seconds every time. Plus, they were cut blocking Tennessee's D-line. D-linemen hate that stuff, as you guys know. So there weren't as many opportunities. They didn't have the ball a ton. So there were fewer opportunities. Plus, Tennessee was pretty vanilla. So because of those things, I think it's more of a wait and see versus a true negative. But it's been one of the biggest talking points for fans that are looking for something to say, hey, we needed to be better at. The other thing is the cornerback position. It was wide open, undecided until we saw how they came out with two new corners, and they went with Christian Charles and Warren Burrell. And so those guys got a large amount of the snaps while the game was still being played with the starters. And Kamal Haddon, the former Auburn transfer, played some too and had an interception. But those guys weren't really tested all that much either. So that's another position where, okay, there wasn't anything horrible that came out of it, and they did well, supposedly, but there really wasn't a great test. So another TBD. But I wouldn't totally discount that as meaningless in terms of everything else that went well. It's no guarantee for the rest of the year because you rolled up Ball State. But I think there are individual things in how they looked that are positive. They bossed the game from the jump, and they look like one of the better teams in the league. There's plenty of other teams around the league that mess around with far inferior competition. So that was good. Also, they got a chance to play a lot of guys, some even in the first half. And that was something they didn't do last year or at all during the Pruitt era and even Butch Jones era, where they were stacking up unnecessary reps against bad teams early in the year that then would accumulate and work against them at the end of the year. So that's why they took full advantage of the lesser competition and didn't mess around, even though it doesn't mean they're going to be in the college football playoff because they beat Ball State. So they came out healthy. So those are a couple of things that were positive that could have gone easily the other way if they didn't take care of business.
Vince, for UT last Thursday night against Ball State and across college football, Memphis had trouble all night really getting a glove on Will Rogers at Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
You see it around the sport. By rule, they don't want you hitting the quarterback. Okay, so maybe the sack numbers and really crushing the quarterback, that's not going to happen anymore. But you've got to move those quarterbacks off their spot. You cannot Tennessee cannot afford to let Keaton Slovis sit back there and wait for a second or third option, because he will hurt him. He was critical. He was almost the key for Pitt in that win in backyard.
Yes, and that's going to be one of the keys to your point, Brett, in this game. Tyler Barron talked about it, that they've got to get pressure on him. You said off their spot. He is a guy that keeps his eyes down the field and has a big arm, and Tennessee knows it. So if they can get him uncomfortable and go the direction he's not most comfortable, probably across his body, then that's when you can force him into some mistakes. Although, even though he was sacked 5 times against West Virginia, he did not turn the ball over. So That's a positive for him. But, yeah, Tennessee's got to elevate their pass rush. They need their 2 best pass rushers in Byron Young, who's the Leo, the hybrid defensive end, outside linebacker, and then Tyler Barron, who's pretty much just a DN now with his hand down on the strong side typically. They need those 2 guys to be almost all SEC caliber, that good, and then they're going to have to generate, a by committee pass rush from other guys. And they'll blitz some, but they don't want to have to blitz as much because they're unproven and younger.
Yeah, you're really
back
exposed
end, especially. Yeah, and so we don't know if there's total trust in those guys yet. They took those chances last year when you had Alontae Taylor and Theo Jackson, but so they've got to generate pass rush and do it a fair amount of the time with their front 4.
Now, the other side, the pass rush for Pitt is certainly a strength of their team. A lot of people think that's a top 10 group, maybe even top 5 group in the country. Certainly, I think right there behind Clemson in the ACC. Habakkuk Baldonado is first-round mock for a lot of NFL mock drafts. Kalijah Cansey in the middle is a really good pass rushing, a defensive tackle. How concerned should Tennessee be about holding up their end offensive line-wise?
Well, it is a very good group, and also Alexander, who was hurt in that West Virginia game, not sure if he's going to be able to play or not. He was a little bit more in question last we checked yesterday, so he looked like he was pretty banged up in that West Virginia game. As a really experienced guy. And you mentioned Baldonado. He had 2 sacks against Tennessee last year in Pitt's win in Knoxville. So actually born in Italy. So,
there you
a
go,
favorite of mine as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that front 7 is really good. And what they do is they gear up. Everything in Narduzzi's defense is geared towards stopping the run. So not only with that front 4, but their linebackers, even secondaries, very aggressive in the box, force you into long down and distance. So what Tennessee can't do is abandon the run too early if they're getting stopped, 1, and 2, they can't be predictable in early downs, first down especially. And Tennessee generally under Josh Heupel has done a good job at that. You can't just become one-dimensional and predictable, because then Pitt's going to get that chaos going that they have been successful at. Now, they had held opponents, 26 straight opponents, to under 200 yards rushing until last week. So that they did not do a great job stopping the run against West Virginia. I think Tennessee has some pretty decent backs. So we'll see if they really got into them, and they'll be better this week. I do expect them to be. Tennessee has 1 position open on their offensive line. Joe Mincy, the Florida transfer, probably will win that job eventually. He got the most snaps and did a good job. But again, not the same test last week. And then 4 returning starters the rest of the way. So I think it's a solid group. It's not an elite group, but they can't afford to get exposed or have some huge holes back there. And look, Tennessee's tempo helps with that. I think the offensive line in this offense doesn't have to be road graders, dominant first rounders, because the tempo takes its toll on those fronts. And if Tennessee is able to have successful plays and run that tempo the way they want it, that could wear Pitt down over 4 quarters also.
In this game, or during the Josh Heupel era, rather, over 14 games, Tennessee, they've been fast starters. The number is big. It's like 250 to 70 the first half differential. I may not have those numbers exactly right, but it's a wide gap. Josh Heupel starts fast, and you will need this on the road. Tennessee will need a fast start.
No question. Tennessee led the nation in first quarter points last year. So absolutely. And they actually were outscored, and they outscored themselves in the second quarter versus the first against Ball State, but they were going up and down the field. That's the thing. Last year, the second quarter was probably their worst quarter. So they had the best quarter and then the worst quarter in the first half, then good to start third quarters. So they have to eliminate that yo-yo. And that's
it tells me you have a
things.
really good plan, though, Vince.
Well, that's true. And then you're making halftime adjustments. But then the flip side of that is our teams adjusting once you get past the script.
Mm-hmm.
So that still, we need a larger sample size to see if that continues. If they're still, teams are still adjusting to them, and then Tennessee will adjust, and then opponents are adjusting back, then you're going to have to ask some more of those questions. But I think this game will start to tell a better story long term on who's got the advantage and if they can eliminate that drop off in the second quarter. But yes, the scoreboard will dictate a lot of how each team plays. Pitt's not going to be a team. They want to run the ball. If they fall behind early and then they become one-dimensional, I think that's going to be really difficult for them to come back.
So this wide receiver group for Tennessee, obviously a late addition of Brew McCoy, and he was at USC Texas, never could find his footing. Game one against Ball State, 3 catches, 42 yards, at least got out there, looks semi-comfortable. What have you been hearing about him? Do you think he's finally found a spot that he can succeed and stay for a while?
Yes, he had a really good camp. When we had a chance to see him in practice, whether it's teams or just individual drills, he looked really good, making a lot of catches with any throws that may have been a little bit off center. In the game, he did what we had seen him in practice and pulling a ball low just off the ground, not in an ideal spot, has really good size. Cedric Tillman, who's their top receiver, obviously, that broke out last year, he said in just the few months that he's been here that the two of them are already really close, and that's how much they've bonded. And everyone has given him huge praise, coaches, players, on how he's handled himself. Very grateful for another opportunity, and he's a skilled guy. He was a 5-star for a reason. Now, I still think he's the third best wide receiver on this team, but that kind of tells you that with an improved Jalen Hyatt that's put on more weight and he's more focused, and then Cedric Tillman, plus some speedy young guys behind them, I do think it's a deeper wide receiver group that they can go beyond the mainly just 3 that they played last year. So McCoy has fit in really well. They also game planned for him to be eligible in game 1. They planned on it, and it ended up happening. So no real adjustments from that standpoint either.
Mm-hmm. Now, something I'm curious about, and I've had my thought process about Josh Heupel. I saw him at UCF when he was playing against my Tigers, and I sort of saw his style. He's very offensive-oriented. We know this. He likes to air it out, does a lot of now routes, tempos there. There's no question. He's an offensive guy. Defensively at UCF, and even last year, you saw the defense lags behind because it's tough, I think, with a tempo team. You're on the field seemingly a lot more. It's tough for a defense to really get their footing under them. How much, if at all, do you think this defense can improve upon a year ago?
It's really the difference to me, the biggest factor in their difference in win totals, if they improve off of last year's 7-win regular season.
Similar to how Ole Miss was last year.
Yeah, I think so. And also, they're same thing, same huge, big-time offense and suspect defense. Tennessee has to be at least a little bit better defensively. They don't have to be Georgia's defense or a top 25 defense either. If they can get from the 90s, 100s to 70, 75.
Yep.
I mean, Oklahoma was, I think, 70, 375, something like that in total defense last year. If they can get to that and improve, 30, 40, maybe 50 yards per game, they give up a ton of yards, but it's also about turnovers and it's about third down stops. If they can be better in those areas, the yards aren't going to matter quite as much, but they can't be like they looked in the Music City Bowl.
Right.
Because this offense is going to be, I think, as good, if not better. And so, or a little bit better because they were awfully good last year. It's the defense being just a touch better to where it's not a huge liability for them. And if that's the case, it might give them a better chance to beat some of the better teams on their schedule. Whereas last year they lost to the teams that were better than them, and they beat everybody else that they were better than. If they're going to pull a big upset and really send some shockwaves through college football, that defense can't be like it was last year.
This 2-0 start, that would make Josh Heupel 9-6. I said earlier, I thought it would be his biggest win so far out of the other 8. Maybe Kentucky the biggest win. Kentucky was really good last year, and UT got the win over the Cats. But with a win Saturday, a 2-0 start, it's official. The long national nightmare is over. Danny White's calmed the department, and Josh Heupel has a handle on the football program. Do you think that would be the story UT partisans could tell?
Not with Pitt, not yet. They got to beat Florida or beat a big boy. I do think it will resonate nationally if they beat Pitt. The fan base is already pretty excited, so I don't think that they're not on board. But to truly take it to crazy expectations,
the Gators.
I think it's got to be Florida.
Yeah, it's the Gators in 3 weeks on the 24th, 2 weeks from Saturday, and the very real potential of Florida being undefeated and Tennessee being undefeated. It would feel like the 90s. It'd feel like the good old days.
Well, especially because of how much better Florida looked than some of us thought.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson, electric, and then them being tough enough to keep responding against a really tough team in Utah. Yeah, that's a Florida team that can be much different than a lot of us thought. Where they quit in a lot of those situations last year. They didn't look like it. Obviously, a bigger test another big test against Kentucky this weekend. But man, you could see both of them undefeated, and man, it doesn't need any more hype. But that we'll take it because that'll be pretty sweet.
All right, Brett and I have said with this Pitt game, 2:30 ABC. We said if you're betting on it, I think it's tough.
You like to ride motorcycles with no helmet.
I have no idea exactly which way I would think on that. I'm going to probably stay away from it. How do you think this game goes?
Well, I do think it will be similar to last year, to where fairly high scoring. And probably in that, anywhere from 1 score to 2 score type of game. The line is 6.5 or 7 right now. I haven't done my official score prediction yet, but I would probably give Tennessee a slight edge in terms of giving those points. Maybe a 10-point win. Maybe settle in on a touchdown somewhere around the number. But that's the way I see it. I think Pitt is going to be a real good challenge. They'll be better in the second game. But I think Tennessee's team speed and the camaraderie they have, Hendon Hooker from the jump in this game, a lot of fans point to that. Hey, if Hooker would have started last year instead of Milton, then we would have won that game going away. So I do think, and Pitt's a little bit banged up in some places, maybe more than Tennessee. They'll be at home, so that's a factor also. But this Tennessee team has a lot to bring to the table, and I think in a higher scoring game they'll win kind of in that 7 to 10 point range.
And we're looking forward to it. Vince, always appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us.
All right, guys. Always fun to visit with you. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Vince Farrar from WNML in Knoxville talking the Vols against the Pitt Panthers on Saturday. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road and online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. All the cars test-driven, all checked out thoroughly from bumper to bumper, head to toe, unlimited inventory. Every make, every model they have it. If by chance they don't have it, they'll go find that special car just for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. You walk in and you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, down-home environment, no high-pressure sales tactics whatsoever. The opposite of that. They care about your time, though, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. You walk in, you find the car you want, test drive it, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're out of there in 45 minutes or less. It's a guarantee. You can do it over your busy lunch hour like right now, before dinner time, and to settle in and watch all the games on TV tonight. They know we live in a world today that time matters, and that's why they keep it so simple for you at DeSoto Auto Sales. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road and online at DeSotoAutosales.com.
We have about 30 minutes left in the show. You know where to find us. Listener line is 901-360-8255. You can also watch us live and message us on our social, Sports56 WHBQ, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Still plenty to come. Stay with us.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. It's been a particularly rainy season, and that stain on your ceiling isn't getting any smaller, exposing your family to the possibility of mold. Let me come take a look. 867-0303. Our technicians are Owens Corning Platinum Preferred, so don't let someone tell you that it has to be replaced if all you need is a repair to get several more years of life. 867-0303. Have me on your speed dial for when life's little catastrophes come up. 867-0303. Upgrade your roof to a beautiful Owens Corning Duration Architectural Shingle with a 50-year warranty and an unheard of 25-year labor guarantee. I'll measure your roof from outer space and give you a competitive estimate right over the phone. Buy now and pay nothing till 2022 with approved credit. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique, fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive, always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, They even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started and be sure to sign up with promo code CASH so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Choate's is offering some amazing specials for this month only. If you're considering upgrading your furnace before the cold weather comes, Choate's is offering $1,000 off a new Carrier furnace. If you don't need a new furnace, Choate's is now offering its early bird $60 furnace tune-up. This 22-point tune-up includes a free carbon monoxide test and heat exchanger inspection. And Choate's is your indoor air quality expert. For the best quality air for you and your family, it's recommended to have your air ducts cleaned every 8 years. This month only, Choate's will install a free UV light system when you get your air ducts cleaned, a $500 value. Call us at 347-8086 to take advantage of these amazing deals. So, turn to the experts with Choate's, and remember, let our family serve your family.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
I couldn't believe it either, but that thing runs like new.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
My nail tech knows how to keep it a little secret. I don't wish for my success, I speak it. I caught a buzz and you did too, but you tweaking. I look like I've been getting money, how reeking. You smell me.
Back in on Sports Time. And Jack Harlow bringing us in. You like it?
I love it.
Okay.
Sounds like Sinatra.
All right, let's not get carried away, Brett.
Oh, come on.
That's offensive to me.
From TikTok, huh?
Are you getting
TikTok rapper to superstardom.
You know, I don't even know if it was TikTok, really.
I have no idea.
SoundCloud is how
No, he definitely wasn't SoundCloud. He just popped out
I
of
bet
nowhere.
he had a SoundCloud song here or there.
I'm sure, but he wasn't like one of the SoundCloud rappers that blew up off of SoundCloud. But he just came out of nowhere. I don't know where he came from.
Shouldn't they perform on game day when you're like if you have that talent? Shouldn't they make them do something?
Something tells me
he did perform.
He did?
Mm-hmm.
Was it good?
No. The Ohio State faithful were not very responsive to his song.
Did he do it during the show?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't see that.
There was like a little. He was on like a little isolated stage.
You know,
and
he has his niche, and you sort of wonder how long it lasts. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
You wonder how long it lasts.
Teenage heartthrob.
Yeah, teenage heartthrob.
Fame can be fleeting, Gabe.
It can. I got you.
Ask Sinatra.
Yours is still here, though.
Of what?
Your fame is still here.
Never been famous.
Come on.
It didn't have to fleet anywhere.
Real quick before we get to a little bit of NBA news and play a sound from Pat Bev, because there was some funny stuff out of Lakers camp.
Our guy.
The sort of beginning
Jack
of
Harlow
the
and
Lakers
Pat
camp.
Bev.
By the way, we do have a text saying Mac Miller was better. Rest in peace to Mac Miller. There's no question. I completely agree with that sentiment. No question. Now,
never was an argument from our show.
Yeah. Not from you, especially.
Who was Mac Miller?
A rapper, dated Ariana Grande back in the day.
Was that the guy that was
from
buddies
Pittsburgh?
with Robert Kraft?
No.
See, I'm getting my rappers.
Well, you're thinking
confused.
of Meek Mill.
There you go.
Yeah, this is a Pittsburgh guy.
Okay. It's Pittsburgh, not Philly. Although, close. But no, he passed away. What? It been
2 years ago?
No, it was more than that.
Was it
3, 4, maybe 5?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. As I get older,
agree.
Back in my day, when I was young, everything seemed to happen. Now it's like things happened 5 years ago. It seems like yesterday.
But Texter, great take, fantastic take. Brett agrees too. So
yes.
that's the main part. Before we get to a little NBA stuff, Cade Klubnik. Know about Cade Klubnik? Clemson, backup quarterback.
That crowd reaction told me there was going to be one.
Yes, but here's the other big thing, and don't mistake this for nothing. First time he's ever been involved in any presser today. They put him out in front of the press today. First media availability they've ever had with Cade Klubnik was today. This is sort of the beginning stage of DJU. You're probably going to be done soon. And it's not dissimilar. It's not dissimilar to Trevor Lawrence over Kelly Bryant.
It's exactly the same, except those Clemson teams, you knew they were building.
Except Kelly Bryant wasn't near the – but here's the other thing. Kelly Bryant wasn't near the recruit DJU was. DJU, for all intents and purposes – and I thought he was fine the other night. So, I feel kind of bad because, he really was okay. He wasn't bad. He tried to keep
got better as the night went
take
on.
care of the ball for the most part besides that fumble at the beginning of the game. He had a couple of balls that he threw on target.
It was a klutzy start.
But he had some decent throws within the game.
That line was bad.
But the line was terrible. I don't think he has good wide receivers. But everything with him, his throwing motion, it feels forced. On a couple of slants, he was choking the ball. He just doesn't look comfortable throwing the ball anymore.
He didn't.
Whereas, I just remember Notre Dame in, what was that, 2020?
In COVID, up there at Notre Dame.
That's a long time ago. He looks nothing like that anymore. Nothing like that. I think the confidence is fleeting, too.
Don't know the supporting cast is as good as
it's not, but also, if you just watch him throw the ball, he looks uncomfortable.
He doesn't reach confidence. He doesn't look like a confident player.
Everything is work.
Uh-huh.
Him throwing the ball, him running the ball, holding on to the ball, everything seems like a job to him.
Did you see the Twitter thread the other night of, show me somebody that loves you like Dabo loves DJU?
Yeah.
But then he puts him in, and you heard the Clemson crowd voted.
Yes. And it's got to be a struggle for him. Best game he's played.
He had to have heard that.
But also, that's the best game he's played since Notre Dame. And now, Cade Klubnik gets 10 plays, easy touchdown, roll out left, roll out right, perfect balls placed everywhere, and obviously in mop-up time.
Against the tight defense with backups.
It's looking like it's the wheels are in motion on DJU getting replaced. That's tough stuff. That is tough to take.
His next 2-pick game, he better look out.
Now, Lakers camp is getting funny. The beginning of this Lakers 2022-23 team is making me laugh.
Patrick Beverly's the bad guy we all love, isn't it?
Russell Westbrook and Pat Bev. Remember the question always has been, can they coexist? Can they talk to each other and be in the same locker room?
Said they would never be teammates.
They were smiling and laughing in pictures yesterday. Pat Bev stepped to the mic. They asked Pat Bev, they said, hey, is there anybody in this league that you like, who before you got here, now you're playing with Anthony Davis, you're playing with LeBron, who did you want to play with? And he brought up Russell Westbrook, and he said, I love how he competes. He's like me. He's a bulldog out there. He just gets moving, and he has a lot of energy. And I thought that was interesting because this was the question. Can Pat Bev and Russell Westbrook
never be in the same room
coexist? I always had the question about LeBron and Russell Westbrook, if we're being honest, because LeBron, I think, this whole offseason has made it clear he's not interested in playing with Russ anymore. He flirted with Kyrie. Let's go over it. Flirted with Kyrie, didn't sit by Russ at Summer League, has not been engaged with Russell Westbrook this entire offseason. The question was never about Russell Westbrook and Pat Bev. It's about Russell Westbrook and LeBron. LeBron has moved on, it feels like, for all intents and purposes.
The common denominator here is Russell Westbrook. And now with diminishing skills, with lack of contribution.
By the way, did you guys, I know I brought up 2K ratings, the top 10. Did you see that Russell Westbrook is a 78 on 2K. That's the same ranking. I saw the Lakers roster. Same ranking as Kendrick Nunn. Ooh. That's how he's thought of.
Mighty have fallen.
That's ridiculous. And I know it's 2K ratings, so you take it with a grain of salt, but that's insane.
But it's not unimportant.
It shows how he's viewed by circles of NBA fans and media.
The market knows.
Now, I thought this was funny. Pat Bev stepped to the press yesterday, was talking to the media, and he was asked a question about playing with LeBron and AD, and this is what came out of his mouth.
You'll be playing with LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
They will be playing with me.
Yeah?
Yeah. I made the playoffs last year. They didn't. That's the difference.
Have you guys started talking yet?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but I'm glad that, you get a chance to play with each other. Then, anything else, I'm excited to see it go on. I'm excited to, to get the battling going.
They get to play with Patrick Beverley. They are blessed to get the opportunity to play with Patrick Beverley. LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
I like him except when you're playing him.
What is he? Listen, I'm not going to try to create like locker room drama, but I'm just going to ask you guys, how do you think that goes across to LeBron and AD? Like, they probably grand scheme are going to let it go, don't really care that much, or is that like, you think they think about that?
No.
Like,
September talk.
Yeah, I think that's bizarre though. That's a bizarre answer, but it is very on brand.
But that's the Lakers.
Very on brand for him.
Mm-hmm.
But this whole, do you think the Lakers can succeed with what they have right this second?
What? Win a championship?
Not win a championship. Succeed. No. Playoffs.
Play in?
How the mighty have fallen. I can't. I'm amazed that we're at this point with them, where you have to truly rack your brain to think
can win a series.
If they can get into the playoffs.
I don't think they can win a 4 out of 7 series against anyone that would be a playoff.
If Anthony Davis is healthy, it becomes a different conversation. But he's never
extend a series. But he's scare someone.
But he's never, ever, ever fully healthy.
And it'd be funny when they have to pay for that, because when they went to these 4 out of 7s, that was to eliminate any of these teams kind of catching lightning in a bottle, like 94, Dikembe Mutombo in Denver, quickly dispatching of number 1 seed Seattle in a 3 out of 5. When they went to these 4 out of 7s, it almost ensured, air quotes here, the right team advanced. Well, that was kind of set up for the big boys. Baseball's doing it now. Baseball expanding these playoffs was basically, we're going to make sure Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, they really wanted the Red Sox in there. They're not going to make it. But we're going to get these teams in there. We're going to get our right team, again, air quotes here, our right teams in there. The Lakers could get in there as a 7 and run into a 2 and lose 4-1. But they're not going to win it over 2. They're not going to win 4 games over 2 weeks against a 2 seed.
Think about their supporting cast: Pat Bev, Lonnie Walker. Who else? Like who else is?
Well, you started great. It was diminishing returns quickly.
Thomas Bryant. Like who is going to come off the bench for them? Who helps? Who genuinely helps that team?
And poor Darvin Ham's sanity by that point. By playoff time.
It's a shame. He's been working to get a job for this long, and this is. I mean, and I think it's the Lakers. It's the big mighty Lakers. Don't get it twisted.
But this is not his playoff run team year.
But who else? I mean, who are they going to like? Their depth pieces: Wayne Ellington, Lonnie Walker, like who? Kendrick Nunn. None of this is
former Grizzly, former MOP of the Final Four.
This is not. This is not a good team, and I think everybody's wanting to see if Russell Westbrook's going to get traded before the year, because there has been a bunch of reports. I think Jovan Buha, who writes for the Lakers for The Athletic, has said that Russell Westbrook, if he's on the team by the beginning of the season, they don't expect him to be active. If he's not active, who the hell's playing? I just don't. You got to get a trade done but no one. Who's going to do that? Who? I can't imagine anyone in their right mind dealing for Russell Westbrook. The clock is almost expired.
Yeah,
it's expired. It feels.
And what's the return?
You have to salary match. You had to figure it out that way.
Just guys.
I don't know what
just names. Just salary match. That's it. That's the key ingredient.
And it'd have to be a bad enough team that
For
thinks
as
that
bad as I've said, I'm never consuming sports. I tell you, Bryant's laptop. Every time you have it on, I tell you what a great picture that is.
Great picture.
And how cool it is.
What's on it right now?
All right, I'm already thinking about
We got Mets Pirates.
how'd I get hooked up to Amazon for next week.
Got to.
Are we? I got you.
I know, but how'd I do it all? I don't know how to do
It's not hard. They make it very simple for you.
You don't even know about an HDMI cord. But you have an HDMI cord at your house, guaranteed.
Yeah, I feel like I do.
If not, I got like 7 laying around the house.
They're everywhere.
Let me tell you right now on the air, unplug it from the back of whatever box you have, your DirecTV box, and plug it into your laptop that's streaming Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
The Amazon game.
One of these buttons here on the side?
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
one of
it's
the
not
plugins.
a button.
The plugins, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're not that far. You can figure it out, right?
I'm open to it. I know I can listen to it right here on Sports 56, and I like listening to games in my car.
It's fair.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah,
You'll intake it some way.
Brett Northworthy here for FanDuel. Kickoff week 1 with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Join today to get started with $150 in free bets. That's a guarantee when you place your first $5 bet. Sign up with promo code CASH to get in on the action. Then you can turn game day into payday all season long. I love, and I've talked about over and unders through the years. It's so much easier and more fun maybe to bet the over, but I like the Jacksonville-Washington game to go way under when they play on Sunday afternoon. Play your way and bet on more than just the final score. Wager on everything from touchdowns to total yards to catches. You can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. Don't fumble your chance to get $150 in free bets. Win or lose with promo code CASH. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Time to put a cap on the show. Taco Bell Crunch Time's next.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
The summer clearance sale is happening now at Family Leisure. You can get up to $2,000 off on a swimming pool. Yes, you heard me. $2,000 off on swimming pools. Get it installed in 2022. You'll be ready for summer 2023. Plus, if you are more of a do-it-yourselfer, Family Leisure has specials that are just too good to pass up, with free ladder upgrades and a whole season worth of chemicals. No one else can offer that kind of deal. Looking for patio furniture? In-stock sets are up to 30% off. Play gyms and trampolines, you can get up to $1,000 off with free installation. We don't know how long these hot temperatures will last, but we do know these prices will not. So take advantage of the summer clearance sale. It's happening right now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Wooden Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
For the latest from the world of golf, tune in every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 for the Golf Shop Radio Show, presented by PlayGolfMyrtleBeach.com, the golf capital of the world. Hosts Mark Greenhelge and Matt Blanchard talk golf from tee to green and everything in between. If you like golf, you're going to love Golf Shop Radio. Before you tee up, drop on in. Welcome to the Golf Shop here on Sports 56. Real sports talk.
I did a site visit, and the space is absolutely incredible.
Este's Reiki Clinic is opening another studio across town.
But there's a lot to wrap up.
But staffing an entire office requires more than just deep breathing.
Receptionist and at least 4 new practitioners.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boost on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started and be sure to sign up with the promo code HAPPY so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code HAPPY. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
In the alley since 1948, Mr. Charlie Virgo's world-famous Rendezvous. John, you and your family continue the great work at the Rendezvous. Next year will be the 75th birthday party. Let's start the party now.
Brett, there are so many visitors in town to watch the emerging Grizzlies and to see our great sights and sounds in Memphis. I see them all the time at the restaurant. I want them to know Memphis is a great foodie town. There are so many family-owned, locally owned great restaurants that have stood the test of time. I won't mention all because the list is too long and I don't want to leave anybody out, but I will mention Jim's Place Grill because my cousins own it. It's a great restaurant and they've stood the test of time. And they are this year celebrating their 100th anniversary. And of course, any visitor that comes to Memphis needs to eat barbecue. And I've said this before, there's great barbecue all over Memphis. I know because I eat it. But if you just have one night to eat barbecue in Memphis, it should be the Rendezvous. It's such a special place with a special staff. And by the way, next year we will be celebrating our 75th anniversary.
The world-famous Rendezvous, serving Memphis in the Mid-South and with the shipping, serving the world.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
I couldn't believe it either, but that thing runs like new.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
My nail tech knows how to keep a little secret. I don't wish for my success.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
What I learned today, Brett, is there's no mystery about what the Big 12 wants to do now. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark was visiting Cincinnati today, who's going to be joining relatively soon here. We know that from the AAC. But he was talking to reporters, and what he said, obviously during media days, he said the Big 12 is open for business. But today he said, obviously, going out west is where I would like to go, entering that 4th time zone. So it's very clear what he wants. He wants those 4 corner schools. He wants Colorado. He wants Utah. He wants schools of that ilk, Arizona, Arizona State. He wants to get out there and get that 4th time zone, and he wants to stay alive. Now, what that would do to the Pac-12, probably kill it. Grand scheme of things. We'll see.
They're not going to go down without a fight, though. They keep swinging, don't they?
We'll see how it plays out. I think the Pac-12 is going to
in the new playoff. It sounds like
the Pac-12 is going to go down swinging, but the Big 12 is looking to poach, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I learned today 1,474-mile trip this weekend from Mississippi State to Tucson. That state's longest road trip since 2016 when they played BYU. First meeting ever between Arizona and Mississippi State. Mike Leach, 4-2 all-time against Arizona. Saturday night, 10 o'clock. That's going to take – now I know state fans are going to stay up, but for the rest of us SEC college football partisans, let's all text each other when that game goes zeros, okay? Will y'all be up?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
See, 10, 11, 12, 1:30, 1:45. Don't text me. I won't be.
I was up to the end of the Tigers game. I don't even want to – it's fine.
I stayed up
I'll
to
be
the end
up.
of that.
What I could have done without Jerry Jones, he talks a lot, and he has his weekly visit in Dallas with radio stations. What's the radio station? 105.3, something like that. Whatever. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Isn't that
much.
Cuban station? Isn't that Mark Cuban station?
Maybe. I couldn't tell you. I saw what he said yesterday. He was asked about his optimism for the 2022 Dallas Cowboys season.
He's optimistic,
and he said, "Is it this?" And he was asked, "Is it the same as it is every year?" His optimism, and his response, like you talk about word salad, this was word diarrhea. This was word throw up. He said, well, let me just address the first way you stated that question without any issue on it. But I have to believe 1 and 1 is 3. I can't operate where 1 and 1 is 2. Now, we all know it is physically, but the 3 is where you have to go. Now, you have to have optimism to operate out in that world and commit to doing things when you got to count on 1 and 1 being 3. Now, there's a lot more where that came from, and he said 1 and 1 equaling 3, 1 and 1 equaling 2, like 3 more times, but you get the picture. I have no idea what he's trying to say.
Bryce, your mom was an English teacher, right?
She is.
1 and 1's not 3, even if the English.
No,
I mean,
it's not.
I mean, I had great kindergarten and early education skills and teachers. 1 and 1, not 3 yet.
I didn't know it was optimistic to think 1 and 1 equals 3. I didn't know that was an optimistic outlook
Jones is a
on 1 plus 1.
He can add better than that, can't he?
I don't know.
He has people adding for him. So.
That's mind blowing. My favorite Jerry Jones is COVID year draft when he was on his submarine. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
It looked like something in a James Bond movie. I could have done without. I love the Dome News in Chicago. It will get everything. It will get Super Bowls. It'll get Final Fours. How about this? I had to look it up. The last time the Final Four was in Chicago or the Chicagoland area, the first Final Four held at Evanston at Northwestern in 1939. The Final Four hadn't been back to one of the great basketball and sports towns since, but the cost overruns and the payoffs, the avarice, the graft, the corruption, it's going to be high in Chicago. It'll make New Orleans look like a playground.
Now, what we're looking forward to tonight, we have a lot of games that are either done or underway right now, and Yankees down by 1, middle of the 12th to the Twins. Giants and Dodgers tied up at 3 in the bottom of the 8th. White Sox, Mariners tied up in the bottom of the 7th. Mariners had a lead earlier, but also looking forward. Cardinals versus Nationals, Jordan Montgomery, or should I say Sandy Koufax Montgomery.
Or just John Tudor. John Tudor, Jordan Montgomery on the mound for the Cardinals tonight. Magic number at 19. How about the 87-win Houston Astros at home against Texas? Right now, they're the number 1 seed in the American League.
Another one of those sort of quiet 87-win teams this year. It's ridiculous. That's ridiculous what they've been able to do, the Braves and the Dodgers. They've been fantastic. But that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. For Brian, for Brett, I'm Gabe. Enjoy your night and be safe. We'll meet back here tomorrow.
Hi, this is Troy